Wendy Bell Radio is live once again with J.D. Rucker.
I got the regular intro. Yesterday you did the I'm mad because my computer's broken intro.
No,
and it
yesterday was a complete cluster because I couldn't get the computer working.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
They prepared.
It was the I hate life.
Yes.
Wendy Bell's live with J.D. Rucker. Y'all suck. That's kind of the vibe that I got. But hey, it's all right.
Hey, check your levels just so you know you don't want that automatic.
Son of a gun! I thought I take it off. Okay, let me make sure it's off. So the automatic adjust is off on this. So it must be my actual microphone software that's doing it, because I'm looking at it right now and it is not set to auto adjust. Maybe if I just stay back. How do I sound if I just stay back a little bit and not
sit where you want to sit? I'm going to adjust you.
Well, but I can see the little lights on here. Like if I get up closer, it's not moving. Did you fix it already?
Yes.
That would be awesome. See, now it looks like I'm frozen on the screen. You're weird. No, I know, but I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
You guys knocked it out of the park yesterday with your chatting and your rumbling. Still made the leaderboard on the front page. So that was nice to see. And that's thanks to you guys, like I said, rumbling and chatting.
Yes. And thank you, John Buffalari, for invoking something that I haven't heard since I played high school football.
Oh boy.
And that was my nickname, which was Mother Rucker.
Mother Rucker.
They called me Mother Rucker. My practice jersey actually said that, and it made the news one time because they said that it was a variation of vulgarity. You know, this was in a time when such a thing would be like scandalous. Now today, it's
everybody's saying it.
Yeah, everybody. Even my kids call me Mother. They don't, but no. Thank you for bringing back that flashback.
So I want to ask the audience. How do I say this without? Don't be too mean. I know you all want Sean Parnell. I know that, but he obviously can't. Where's JD ranking the people that we've brought in? Because it's hard to find.
They
people
like Parnell better than me.
What's that?
Oh my gosh, I'm out of here.
I had to book JD a month in advance.
You did, and I appreciate that. And if you call me next Tuesday and you say, "Hey, Wendy's sick, can you go live in 3 minutes?" I'll be like, "Heck yeah, let me throw on some pants."
Well, you don't have to wear pants. We can't see you.
Trust me, dude. I have to wear pants. So so yesterday I did see we only got 2,000 what is it? What are they called? Likes,
rumbles?
Thumbs, rumbles.
Yeah, rumbles.
2,000 rumbles. We need to get 3,000 rumbles, and I'm going to make a threat. Okay.
Yep. Wendy threats it. We barely get to 3 now.
No. Here's the thing. We need to get to. We're going to take it incrementally. If by the third hour, and before the third hour today, if we have 2,500 rumbles, then I will keep my shirt on.
Oh God, please.
Okay.
Start rumbling early. Please. Yes. Rumble early.
I took this is my stripper shirt, so I can take it off very easily, and I will.
Let me tell you guys real quick. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Get your 250 flag. They're on sale this month. He's also doing for Father's Day the 10-pack of Hunt Chef spices. And while you're there, get some Sniper, get some Knockout, get some Harmony for your garden, get some Harmony for all the ants and bugs crawling around your house right now. But disinfectwithsniper.com. Go to the website. Get your 250 flag. They're pretty cool. And they're on sale right now. So disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
Should I be offended that you actually went to the disinfecting portion after I talked about taking my shirt off?
Sure. All right, here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You know, you can be in the middle of a hurricane.
I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
People can yell at you.
So I am going to tell you that we have to Trump.
North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things.
We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do.
And in this business, right is still right. Even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, J.D. Rucker.
Gosh, I love doing this. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, in the United States of America. And even if you're not in the United States of America, I feel bad for you because we really do have the best nation in the world. And that's not hyperbole. That's not, just bold accusations of idiocy everywhere else. When I look at what's happening in England right now, you look at what's happening in London, you look at their version of George Floyd, only with a white guy, and you see nothing, no protests, nothing. Elon Musk is on it, so I'm sure you will see something happening now. But my gosh, we will be talking about that a little bit later. Just throwing out the news real quick because this is something that just broke, and I don't know much about this guy. Apparently, Tulsi Gabbard's acting replacement is Bill Pulte. Okay, Bill Pulte has been named as the acting director of national intelligence, replacing Tulsi Gabbard, who was out there. I saw she had posted a little video today saying that she was taking her husband in to have his surgery for this rare form of bone cancer, which is why she had to leave. And that's such a horrible thing. We have in my family, we've gone through the cancer stuff. It's hard, and I get it. And so prayers for Tulsi Gabbard and her husband. As far as Bill Pulte, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Is it Bill Pulte? I mean, he's the director of Federal Housing Finance Agency, which oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And now he's the acting director of national intelligence too. A lot of the left, I don't want to echo the left, but like Chuck Schumer and a lot of those guys their response was, this guy has no experience. This guy has no experience. And it's like, I can't argue with that. I mean, I'm thinking DNI, right? Tulsi was in there and I thought she was fantastic. And I was a skeptic, to be clear. She was one of the people that Trump had initially named where I'm thinking, I don't know. She's a little bit of a, she's still a Democrat, or she was a Democrat at least. She ran for president as a Democrat. She's got a little, and then she just blew me away. I mean, she might have been the best part of the Trump administration for the first year. Getting all those things declassified, pushing against things that some in his administration don't push back against. Look, I'm a true full-blown MAGA guy. Okay, I support President Trump wholeheartedly, but I will push back. Okay, if I disagree with something, I'll push back. And she is one of those people that did the same. But she was still extraordinarily loyal all the way to the end. Now we got Bill Pulte, who, again, I wish I could give you guys all the skinny on this guy, but I can't. I've got my notes here. My notes tell me who he is, and they don't even say much. Apparently, my note taker doesn't even know. It's like, yeah, he's Federal Housing Finance Agency, you know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and now the CIA or whatever. It's like, I don't know what to think about that. But I do trust President Trump. I trust his administration. I trust the people around him much more than I did in the first term. And we shall see, will we not? Speaking of no experience, though, when it comes to DNI, I think I would probably prefer to have experience, just like I would want to have somebody to have experience as, you know, Secretary of War. And, well, thankfully, praise God, Pete Hegseth has experience. So, and he's doing a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned. But there are other jobs where you don't necessarily need government experience. You need experiences, which is where Spencer Pratt comes into play. He has no experience, and that's been the big push. There have been 2 pushes against him by his detractors, his opponents, legacy media in the area. Today, of course, is election day. And so the big pushback has been that he doesn't have the experience. And his counter to that is like, okay, so yeah, Karen Bass has experience with sucking, and Nithya Raman has experience with being a total moron. Okay. She's actually been in LA city government for longer than Karen Bass. She's been in charge, from the city council's perspective. She's been in charge of homelessness. How's that working out in LA? So he's like, yeah, you know, great. I don't have any experience. Who cares? I think it's a good thing. The other pushback, though, has been unfounded, and yet they've been saying, oh, you know, President Trump, he's endorsing Spencer Pratt because he said something. He made one little comment. Okay, somebody had asked him. He hasn't proactively said anything about Spencer Pratt. Somebody had asked him, and he said, yeah, you know, I'm rooting for the guy. I think he's a, you know, probably a MAGA guy. He's really, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like he's really interesting or something, right? But they've been saying, oh, you know, Pratt is a MAGA Republican, and that's supposed to be a detriment. And to be clear, in Los Angeles, that would be a detriment. Okay, there are times and areas around the country, including quote unquote blue areas, where it's like, you know, being a quote unquote MAGA Republican isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, obviously in red states, it's definitely not a bad thing. We're learning that in every primary that we've seen so far. But in blue states, it can even a little bit, you know, leaning blue, being getting President Trump's endorsement and being pro MAGA, pro making America great again, pro America first concepts aren't necessarily bad. In LA, it is. Okay, I'll just tell you. Okay, I'm down here in Southern California. I lived in LA for a little while with my wife. I have visited LA, I don't know, 24 times over the last 2 decades. I've gone to events there, and it's not exactly MAGA friendly, which is why both Karen Bass and Nithya Raman and legacy media have tried to put that quote unquote stigma of President Trump onto Spencer Pratt, even though he's like, look, I don't want anybody to endorse me. The only endorsement I want are the endorsement of mothers who want to be safe. That's the endorsement that he wants. Well, for whatever reason, and I might have been a little bit too accusatory when I posted this story, but I posted over at discernreport.com. Is Fox News trying to derail Spencer Pratt? Their top headline on election day claims a non-existent Trump endorsement. Let me actually go to that one, and you can, I think we have it still. Let me see if it is the top story over the Liberty Daily as well. It is. So there's a picture of, this was from earlier this morning. So the headline, the top headline at Fox News has changed, but the early headline on election day in California, in Los Angeles, said from reality TV to City Hall, which, to be clear, that's also another jab. Oh, he's a reality TV star. That's what they always keep saying. To City Hall, ? Trump backed Spencer Pratt. That's how Fox News characterized him. Trump backed Spencer Pratt soars in LA mayor's race as California votes. And that's, you know, you might be thinking that's a good headline. Okay. But it was not necessary, nor was it beneficial. And if anything, it would have been negative. It has been used already against him throughout the day. It's like even Fox News says he's Trump backed, but he's not. He's not backed by Trump. Trump made a bunch of endorsements last night, overnight, as he likes to do. And what does he do when he makes an endorsement? He goes to Truth Social and he writes out, "It is my great honor to such and such for this person." He made a bunch of endorsements up and down races across California, across the nation. It was just a flurry, an endorsement storm from President Trump on Truth Social, and he never mentioned Spencer Pratt. And as I said yesterday, if you listen to yesterday's show, I even said, somebody had asked me, I think it was Brock, somebody had asked, what should the, if Spencer, assuming he does make it through this first round, okay, and gets into the quote unquote general election in California, what should the RNC do? And my response is nothing. Stay out of it. Okay. Somebody wants to give him money, like PACs that you can transfer money from PAC to PAC. If they want to go that route, that's fine. But we don't want, if you want Spencer Pratt to win, you do not want the national Republican Party or even the state Republican Party getting too actively involved. His strength is that he's an outsider. He's outside of the party structure. He has nothing to do with national politics. He keeps hammering over and over again that he's in it for Los Angeles, that he wants to end homelessness, that he wants to end the drug addiction problem, the very horrible drug addiction problem. He wants to reduce crime. He wants to improve affordability. He wants to make it to where if there's another fire, God forbid, but if there is, that LA can, put the fire out with their fire department. These are basic things. That's his strength. That's what the people of Los Angeles want to hear. They don't want to hear about MAGA. They don't want to hear about Republican. They don't even really want to hear about Democrat, to be fair. They just want their lives to get better because it hasn't been this bad in a long time. As a matter of fact, you can take it back to the last time it was sort of this bad. It was this bad for a shorter period of time, but that was during the Rodney King riots. And that also happens to be the last time the city actually elected a Republican mayor, which is right after that. So we'll see. I maybe I shouldn't accuse Fox News of trying to derail him, but they did something and it wasn't good. After the break, we'll be talking about Trump derangement syndrome and why that's all the Democrats got. That's all they got. That's it. Coming up on the Wendy Bell radio program. Got to turn this off. Quit. There we go. All right. Not quitting the show. Don't worry. Quitting. I don't know if you guys could hear it. I think I've got it muted, but I kept getting beeps in my ear from Telegram. Oh, yes. As Rosebud notes, and it happens to be my top post on X, my pinned post on X, if he does get 50% plus one, then he wins. There's no runoff in November. He's just the mayor.
That would
be been saying that for a while.
That would be gold for LA in MAGA, even though he's not MAGA. But you can also get gold at wendylovesgold.com. Check out, if you don't have the money to just say, here's $20,000, I'm going to buy some gold. I fall in that category too. But I do have a 401k, and you can diversify within the 401k. Give them a call. 855-927-5557, 855-927-5557. Check out their principal protection plan and see if you can get it in our IRA, or talk to them. Wendy, they have coins now that are for new customers signed by Wendy herself. So call them, find out what they're offering. You don't lose money with them. They guarantee that. So wendylovesgold.com, wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557. Get diversified, because who knows where the money's going, but gold and silver is always a great investment to make.
Somebody noted that I didn't do the Pledge of Allegiance again. You were supposed to remind me. Remind me tomorrow.
Would you look at your text?
No, I don't. I actually don't look at the text, because I've got your text is on my screen, but it's just the calendar or the time breaks so that I know when the breaks are coming up. I'd have to scroll down and leave that. So darn it. Okay. Well, I will remember it tomorrow. Is it after the radio intro or after we go live immediately?
After the radio intro.
Okay. So I'll do it tomorrow and the rest of the week. I will do it. And I say my pledge a little bit differently, you know. I not differently, like I don't say a different pledge. I pledge allegiance to Black America. No,
Oh boy.
no. You're
not going to have a special anthem and special pledge, right?
No. I'm going to do it normally, but I'm going to do the regular pledge. But I taught my kids the pledge early on, and I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. That's one sentence. Like we're taught as children to do it in cadence. I pledge allegiance.
Okay, here we go.
Man, it's good to be back. I didn't introduce myself in that first segment. I got so excited about Bill Pulte, who I don't know much about Spencer Pratt, who I know everything about. And I forgot to say, I'm JD Rucker. I am the guest host today and for the rest of the week for Wendy Bell. Wendy Bell is out doing a secret mission. Okay. I know what she's doing. It's up to her to tell you all, to tell her audience next week. If she chooses to, don't pressure her. If she wants to tell you what she's doing at Area 51, that's up to her. Okay. I'm not here to out her or give away any of her secrets. I'm just saying. But yeah, JD Rucker, you can always check out my stuff at jdrucker.com or my Substack at jdrucker.substack.com. That's who I am and who we are. And who Spencer Pratt is hopefully, Lord willing, the next mayor of Los Angeles. As noted yesterday, and as I noticed in the chat earlier today, it is true that he could win today. And I've argued, I actually wrote an entire article about how his best chance of winning is now, okay, today. If it goes to let's say that he does not get to 50% plus one, which would be hard, but let's say he's not able to do that, then it's going to be harder for him once the Democrats really start focusing in on him, once they consolidate the Democrat vote behind Karen Bass or whatever. It's going to be tougher. It really will be tougher. And I say that today because I really want people to go out there and vote for him today. But then if he ends up getting like 38% and Karen Bass gets like 36% and they go to a runoff, then I will say, you know what? The best time for Spencer Pratt to win is going to be in November. And we got it between now and then to alert the people of the truth about Karen Bass and the truth about Spencer Pratt. Because this comes down to the entire Los Angeles race. I'm not talking about the California race. Those are a little bit different. The rest of the races, including the governor's race, which we'll talk about. But the Spencer Pratt, the LA mayoral race, comes down to one thing and one thing only. It's all about information. Okay. I firmly believe that if you could take the voters of Los Angeles and if you could sit them all down individually in groups all at once somehow, and you can say, this is what Spencer Pratt really is all about, and here's really what he wants to do, and here's Karen Bass, here's what she has done so far, what she hasn't done, what she said she was going to do, and what she was never able to actually accomplish. And these are the ways that she's hurt you. And I'm not talking even from, I'm just saying, if you just throw the facts at him, just the truth, then Spencer Pratt would win in a landslide, even with what we out here in California call the Democrat advantage. No, it's not just a numbers advantage. It is a cheating advantage. It's funny because I don't know. I have heard rumors. I've even had little mini debates, if you want to call them that, with my fellow Californians about whether or not it really is a blue state. And we know that Los Angeles is definitely blue. We know that San Francisco is definitely blue. We know that Orange County is almost certainly red, even though there seems to be fewer Republican representatives there than there used to be. And this is how we can tell that there is still plenty of cheating going on, even in a state where you'd think they wouldn't need to cheat as much, and yet they do. And they do not because they necessarily have to, because again, I think they would still win most elections. It's because they're not satisfied with winning most. They want to win them all. And it's because they have set it up to where no matter what happens, let's say there is a mass infusion of conservatism or republicanism here in California. They want to be able to combat that. And they have set it up to where they can. There is no state in this country where it is easier to cheat on elections or pretty much anything else than in the state of California. They have it rigged, and it's rigged for the establishment, not necessarily just for the Democrats. It's rigged for the establishment itself. You'll see that even when it comes to Democrat versus Democrat races. And here's the thing. I have to be very, very clear because I know that not everybody's from California. You might not be as aware of the politics. When I say establishment, the establishment everywhere else, pretty much, except for a handful of states, you might say Massachusetts, for example, California. All the establishment everywhere else is really part of the uniparty swamp, right? It's really more the Chuck Schumer as close to moderate as you can get nowadays in the Democrat Party. You got them, and then they're with the rhinos, and they form the uniparty swamp. That's the establishment in most of America. In California, the establishment is the radicals. I'm talking about the children of the hippies who thought that their hippie parents were right-wing extremists. Okay, these are the people like the Scott Wieners of the world, the Saikat Chakrabartis of the world, who was AOC's former chief of staff, who, as it turns out, might not be radical enough to win Nancy Pelosi's seat. That's crazy. I mean, they're actually looking at people to the left of the guy that basically invented the Green New Deal. That's how weird and messed up the establishment here is in California. I know a lot of Democrats, obviously, because it's California. I know a lot of them, and I would say most of them aren't radicals. They're not just like, oh my gosh, we gotta, do whatever, but they are pretty bad. Oh gosh, these segments are so short. After the break, I will get to what I was going to get to, which was Trump derangement syndrome, and that being all they've got. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Yeah, the segments are so short. Can we make them longer? Can you call the radio station and ask them, just tell them I'm here for the week, see if they can skip a couple of commercial breaks? Because I'll tell you, when I do my show, when I used to shortwave radio, I was opposite Alex Jones, is the funny part. And we didn't have commercial breaks. It was 4 hours straight. I had my thing set up to where I could push go, and it will do a 1 minute break in case I needed to go use the bathroom. That's it. Those were my breaks. Otherwise, it was just 4 hours of me talking. The 6-7 minute thing, I got to get used to. I'll get used to it by Saturday. So
this is the great setup that a lot of people don't realize. You don't see podcasts like this where you can interact with this is the great thing. 20 some years
I love it.
Of experience in radio, right? Which is great, but in radio, you don't get the constant interaction with your listeners.
Right.
You're waiting for the numbers to come out or the nasty emails. People real quick to send nasty emails instead of the nice emails. But this is what's great. And you see a lot of people now live streaming their radio shows. Mm-hmm. But during commercial breaks, you hear so-and-so back in 5 minutes, so-and-so back in 3 minutes. And they don't take themselves off of the stream, off of the radio stream, what they do is they run their feed. And that's what makes us different. And that's that a lot of them don't do it because they haven't figured out that a way to reroute things to make it happen. Because
real quick, I gotta. Speaking of which, I've got to interact with the chat real quick. Wendy Bell is taking a very well-deserved break. That's all. Okay.
Let me tell you what she told me this morning.
You tell. Yeah, you know her better than I do. I don't even.
Yeah,
know her. I was making up stuff.
She said, "Thank you," and that you guys will all understand. This is her vernacular. She's taken a lot of pictures, and she's got her bread and she's soaking up the gravy. Is what she told me. So that's inside baseball. She's taking a lot of pictures, and she's got her bread out and she's soaking up the gravy. So
nice. So
that's why I told her, because she asked me, how's it going? And I didn't tell her about the mad scramble before the show yesterday because I don't want her thinking about it,
Yeah, of course not. You didn't tell her that I took my shirt off for the third segment in case we didn't get to our 2,500 rumbles today, right? Yeah.
Please don't.
No, I heard the rumor that I heard is that she has infiltrated the basement underneath the proposed ballroom, and she is sabotaging the data center that they're trying to build there. That's true.
That's tinfoil hat. What she did do was take her blood flow 7 with her, which gives her the energy to take a lot of pictures and golf and fish and walk on the beach and take time with her family. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Both her and I take it. I take it every morning. I take the Triple X. Gets the blood pumping. It helps you through the day. You don't feel sluggish. You don't feel tired. There's no naps. I had plenty of energy last night to go home and grill out and make cocktails for Kate and I. So bloodflow7.com/Wendy. They have a bunch of stuff there. You don't have to take the Triple X. It's not expensive. It's pretty cheap to give you the energy boost you need. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I think it's 30% off your first order, and it takes it down to like less than $1 a day, which is cheap. So bloodflow7.com/Wendy. And for the people who say there's too many commercials, I don't work for free. JD doesn't work for free, and Wendy doesn't work for free. So
do I get paid?
Which is another thing. Can I go back to the radio that stream this? They don't understand that they could potentially make money doing the live stream different than the radio stream. But I digress.
That's okay. I was going to help out. I was just going to shorten and make the promo better and say, folks, for Brock and Triple X, go to bloodflow7.com.
/Wendy.
/Wendy.
Always /Wendy.
Always /Wendy. Triple X Brock.
Hell yeah. It'll give me enough energy to go home and cook dinner and make cocktails again tonight. Which in the grand scheme of things, all that matters.
Gets your blood flow going. Nice. All right. Okay, let me figure out how
much as you work, you should be taking Blood Flow 7.
I will. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I already got it figured out.
You're all over the place. All right, here we go. Almost. Here we go.
Almost. Trump derangement syndrome. It's a thing. It's a real, legitimate thing. It exists. It has infected people, not as a virus, not as a bacteria, but it is a verifiable mental illness that has corrupted far more than I think a lot of us realize It's not 50%. It's not like every Democrat has Trump derangement syndrome or every never Trumper has Trump derangement syndrome. Some of them are just, they don't like Trump. Okay. The guy's polarizing. I get it. But for some others, Trump derangement syndrome is a real and legit problem. And unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, I guess technically it would be fortunately, the Democrats, not just politicians, not just campaign managers, but just in general, Democrats have latched onto that becoming their identity. They look at President Trump and they say, hey, we're going to exist to oppose him. Now, we've seen this play out, and we've seen it not play out very well for a lot of people, including some Republicans who've gone down that road. I remember the first one, if I recall, the first Trump deranged syndrome Republican to fall was Jeff Flake out of Arizona. He had it big time, and he learned very quickly early on in President Trump's first term that he wasn't going to make it any longer. He had to back out and retire very quickly, very early on, because he opposed President Trump so much. Democrats have latched onto it, and it's, on one hand, it is technically a winning approach because it does endear people. This is why they do it. Okay, why do they always pivot? Seems like doesn't matter what you ask certain Democrats, they will always pivot to Trump. I mean, always pivot to Trump, no matter what, Hey, why do you think your team, the state's team, lost in the NBA finals? Well, it's probably because of Trump. What? Well, no, let me explain. This is what they do. And this will work for them to some extent during this election. The challenge is that President Trump's not running in 2028 that we know of. I guess there's always a chance. But technically speaking, he's not running as of this will be the last election that he is basically on the ticket. I know that he's not being voted on the ticket, but this is for his sake, for MAGA, for President Trump's administration, that the Republicans are trying to maintain control of the House and the Senate. Because if they lose control of the House, then it's impeachment city. If they lose control of the Senate, then he won't be able to get anybody confirmed, including any Supreme Court justices that pop up. He will have to cut deals, and those won't be good for America. This is, we've heard many times before that this is it. This is the most important midterm of our lifetimes. This is it. We've heard it in 22. We heard it in 18. We heard it in 14. We always hear it. Every midterm election is the most important midterm election. I myself am very proud that I've never said that. I didn't say that in 22. I didn't say that in 18. I didn't say that in 14. I did not say that in 2010. But I'll say it here in 2026. Because the difference between President Trump from 2027 to 2029, the difference between him having control, the Republicans having control of the House and the Senate, versus losing one or the other or both, is night and day. Now you might say to yourself, and I can already hear it, and I'm thinking it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, but what have they accomplished? What have they accomplished? Well, not much. As a matter of fact, pretty much nothing. But the Democrats will accomplish something if they get control. This isn't about handing the Republicans the reins again because they deserve it. This is because we're trying to prevent the Democrats from taking the reins in either the House or the Senate, and God forbid both, because of what they'll do to the country if they get control. Somebody had asked yesterday about, what's the difference? Why do we even care about Susan Collins? She always sides against Trump. She always sides against the Republicans. She's such a rhino. She might as well be a Democrat. That's true. She's between her, Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, who's resigning, Mitch McConnell, who's retiring. Now we got Bill Cassidy to worry about, John Cornyn to worry about, and of course, John Thune. We've got a batch of rhinos, and Susan Collins might be one of the worst, or is definitely one of the worst, maybe the worst out of all of them. But she does vote for the Republican to have control as the Senate majority leader. So you still want the math. You still want the number. And what she represents, just to be clear, prior to this whole Graham Plattner scandal, when it looked like he could possibly win, they actually had it at 50-50. We're talking about CNN's projection had it at about 50-50. Okay. Who would win, Republicans or Democrats, who would win control of the Senate. But then all of a sudden, as soon as all this happened, it jumped from 50-50 to like 57-43 in favor of the Republicans. So Republicans now are up by basically, and it's CNN analysis, so take it with a grain of salt, but their chances have improved. And is it great that we got Susan Collins as the representative, the senator from Maine? No, that sucks. Is it better than Graham Plattner or any other Democrat when it comes to the mathematics of the Senate? Yeah, it's better. I'll take Susan Collins. I won't like it any more than I like Mitch McConnell, John Thune, John Cornyn, Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, or Bill Cassidy. I don't like any of them. But they are all better than their Democrat counterpart. So Trump derangement syndrome, it is a real thing. And even the strategists for the Democrats, they have come out and they have said that you can't ignore Trump because we can put the economy on him. Now, there's a two-edged sword there, because as of right now, that does look bad. Right? I mean, they say this is Trump's economy. Look at your gas prices. Look at your food prices. Look at this. Look at that. He's saying, look at the stock market, but does that really matter? Let's not even worry about your 401k, but that's beside the point. They're saying, oh, this is a bad thing, but it's a double-edged sword, because if, let's say, the Strait of Hormuz opens up, which it could at some point very soon, we could see it won't be a quick reversal, to be clear, but we could see a reversal before the midterm elections, where gas prices are going down. In Florida, gas prices are down like 32 cents right now. I'm not sure why, but just a headline I saw earlier today. Gas prices will go down. Hopefully food prices will either level out or possibly even go down, especially beef prices. That could be a boon for Republicans come the midterm election. President Trump had made note, and everybody was like all jumping on it. Oh, all the TDS people, when he said, I'm not taking the economy into account when I'm looking at Iranian negotiations. That's the right answer, to be clear. Okay. It really is the right answer. You shouldn't negotiate anything, just like we wouldn't want to negotiate or make deals regarding the economy and take Iran into account. We don't want to make deals with Iran and take the economy or any domestic issues into account. Okay, because that's just not how you do business. And we can say what we will about politics versus business. President Trump is first and foremost, he is a business mind. He's still a politician. He's a very good one, but he's a business mind. So that tells us that, he's not going to take that into account. He came out and said it, and everybody jumped up and down about it. But let's say that things do improve. All of a sudden, this whole push for the Trump economy, the Democrats are currently making, it can backfire on them. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I mean, Marco Rubio is sitting in front of the Senate right now talking about it, getting questioned about Iran, question I'm sure about Cuba, about maybe even Greenland. I don't know whether I'm doing the show, so I don't know what they're talking about. But I can assure you that Strait of Hormuz came up, and he's going to say something to the effect of, yes, Strait of Hormuz, we are getting closer and closer to being able to open it up one way or the other. And that's been the talking point for a while, one way or another. I'm not going to get into the Strait of Hormuz today. We will later this week. We'll talk about Iran. We'll talk about foreign policy. But I want to keep this focused on TDS. Point being, just for today, because I have a lot to say about Iran, believe me. But regarding what the Democrats are doing with their TDS, they are currently the consultants, the strategists, the analysts, they're all saying, yeah, focus on the economy, but be careful, because if things do start to turn around, you're going to have to pivot. This is what they're telling the Democrat candidates, which is this reason number one, that they are really focused on Trump. Reason number two is because they don't have, and this is probably the bigger reason, I should have led with this. This is the really reason number one. They don't have another option, not when it comes to the economy. They talk about affordability, right? But they don't have a plan at all. They've been working on a plan. To put in perspective, they've been working on their affordability plan for a year and a half now. As soon as President Trump was elected, they started working on their affordability plan. They started having weekly meetings. Okay. They started bringing in consultants, bringing in analysts, bringing in anybody. It's like, okay, how do we do this? We won the elections. Now, how do we do it? And they started thinking, well, let's see. The push at the time was, let's see what happens with the policies from the left. Let's see what happens in Seattle. Let's see what happens in New York City. And it didn't take 2 months for the consultants for the Democrats to say, okay, well, that's not working. They're failing miserably. So back to the drawing board. Let's try to figure this out. How do we position a message? They don't actually care about fixing the economy, to be clear. They just want a message that can come across as them fixing the economy. The message of Zohran Mamdani and Katie Wilson in Seattle, well, they can't use that because it's failing so miserably in those cities. I'm sure Wendy rips on Zohran Mamdani all the time, but I hate to say it, but he's actually better than Katie Wilson. She's just, wow. She's very, I don't know. Something ain't right with that lady. Okay. It's not, at first I thought maybe she's just a little bit unintelligent, but then it's like, no, she's intelligent. She's just a wacko. Legitimately like mental illness crazy. Okay. I feel really bad for the people of Seattle. My daughters went to go visit Seattle a few years ago before it got as bad as it is today. And even then it's like, don't go. Don't just, why don't I just get you, I'll go to Compton or something. go to Skid Row, safer than Seattle. But no, they wanted to go to Seattle, and I didn't blame them. That's just 2 things. I've got like 12 more. When we come back, the Wendy Bell radio program, I will be talking more about Trump derangement syndrome and its effects on the Democrat Party. Oh, goodness. That was supposed to be a longer one. I still didn't make it. I'm on Brock. I'm on bullet point number 2. I've got like 14 bullet points on this segment. How am I going to make it through this?
Well, I will
Just
say
talk faster.
We need your rumbles because JD has threatened to take his shirt off. So I will personally. We're over 1,000. I would personally beg you to hit that rumble button because just, speaking of things not sexy, windows, doors, gutters, roofs, things that aren't sexy that you don't want to do, but it's necessary when you have a home, right? And if you're in southwestern Pennsylvania, give Ireland Contracting a call, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Talk to them about a roof. You get an estimate that's good for a year, gives you a chance to save up, gives you a chance to move some money around, but they do everything that's sexy. Not sexy, gutters, downspouts, siding, roof, soffit, fascia. They even have Dan. This is a little more exciting, that does all their lighting and all their electrical work. If you're like me, you don't want to touch electrical work because it can kill you. That's the one reason I don't do electrical work. I'll replace a toilet, but no electrical work for me. That's why we have Dan. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Give them a call, get an estimate. It's good for a year. Get that new roof if you need it. Get some gutters, get some soffit and fascia, all the sexy stuff. But I beg of you to hit that rumble button so we can just talk about the non-sexy stuff like gutters and roofing and windows and doors, and not JD taking his shirt off. So
Triple X Rucker.
and thank you for letting me do the reads.
Oh
and
no,
tolerating me doing reads.
I love you doing the reads. I can't read. That's my problem. That's why I do radio.
Well, most of these are off the top of our heads because we've done them so many times.
You know what? If anybody, my X account is at JD Rucker. If anybody shares the link to Rumble and gives it a Rumble and sends out a X post with at JD Rucker, then I will repost it. There we go.
Does that mean you won't take your shirt off too?
No, they still have to get to 2,500. Well, that's still.
Can we just do like 1,700?
Nope, 2,500, or the shirt comes off.
Well, I will protect you all. I can mute his camera without muting his mic, so
he'll just zoom in on my eyes.
This is for my I can't zoom in on him, but I can get rid of his camera and just have the
don't tell him that. We want them to rumble.
I know I want them to rumble, but I also don't want them to leave thinking if we don't get to 2.5, they're out.
Oh, we'll see.
This hour did go fast. Alrighty. Here we go.
JD Rucker filling in for the great, amazing, talented, beautiful Wendy Bell. And I am super blessed to be here. I feel so great about this. You can check out my stuff by going to jdrucker.com. It's basically a news aggregator. It's got some of my content, other people's content, everybody's content, as long as it's good and conservative and or Christian, I will post it there. A little bit of conspiracy theory every now and then too. Believe it or not, if you couldn't tell by listening to me, Trump derangement syndrome is still real, and we are trying to get through as many of these points as possible because this is a big topic. If you listen to the Democrats, they consistently talk about President Trump. They pivot to President Trump no matter what. I heard, was it Newsom? Somebody yesterday, somebody big said they were asking about the LA fires, and this person pivoted to basically blame Trump for the lack of recovery efforts because he hadn't released the money. There was even, they had posted on X, and there was a community note from X that said that that with or without the 50 billion or 50 million or however much it was, that was frozen, with or without it, California and Los Angeles still have the ability and the responsibility to make sure that the Palisades had all the permits and access that they needed to rebuild. They're the ones that aren't doing it. Unfortunately, this is just the reality that we live in with legacy media and with social media, both of them, having so much sway over the population. There are still people out there, many of them, who are misinformed and believe that Trump is responsible for every single bad thing out there. They listen to the talking heads. They listen to the leftist podcasters. They listen to CNN talking heads. They listen to, they read the New York Times or the Washington Post or Politico or whatever, and they come to the wrong conclusions. The reality is that President Trump is doing everything that he can. I'm not saying he's perfect. I rip on him all the time when I disagree with something that he says or does or whatever. But his overarching policies, I wholeheartedly agree with. And his style, I have grown so accustomed to it that I actually get disappointed when he's a little bit more quote unquote normal politician like. I want him to be exactly who he is and who he has been for the last decade with that we spent with him in this amazing journey of the Trump era. There is one aspect where they're really trying to sort of not just say blame Trump, but they're trying to tie in corruption to Trump. You'll see, especially because of we talked about yesterday, how there's all the fraud that's happening, all these bad things that are happening. I'm going to be talking very thoroughly about that a little bit later. But now they're trying to talk about what they're dubbing as Mar-a-Lago corruption. Anything that has to do with his crypto ventures, anything that his sons are doing, especially Eric, who's very involved with this stuff. Any donor influence, anything. Oh my gosh, if anybody that Trump knows is on the Epstein list, it's like, oh my gosh, that's Mar-a-Lago corruption. They of course conveniently forget that President Trump actually banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago itself. Oh no, President Trump he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, flew on his plane like 700 times. He was worse than Bill Clinton or Bill Gates put together. So many lies out there. So many lies, not just about President Trump, but about the MAGA movement in general. Of course, the go-to for a lot of these people, and this one is proven to be very ineffective, by the way, so you're going to hear less and less of it. But the other pivot point, when they're not talking about corruption, they try to latch onto the idea of, hey, we're gonna impeach him again. We're gonna impeach him again. You're going to see less and less of that, especially after Al Green lost his primary. You will hear fewer people talking about that. I'm not saying that it will disappear, but that message didn't play at all with the electorate. And the reason, of course, is because even people that don't like Donald Trump don't want him impeached, because it's a distraction. It takes away from the heart and soul of the United States of America. There is a quote-unquote raging debate inside the Democrat Party over whether to ride the anti-Trump sentiment or to get into a detailed policy engagement. They've tried. The problem is, as I mentioned earlier, they don't have very good policies, and it's not just with the economy. They don't have answers to the questions that Americans are asking, which is why they keep devolving to personal attacks. And we're seeing it in LA with Spencer Pratt. We're seeing it in obviously on the national stage, and we're seeing it with every single Democrat who has an opponent that is tied in some way to President Trump. So it is what it is. We will continue to talk about Trump derangement syndrome after the break. Thank you all for listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. I think my clock's off, Brock. I came out 10 seconds early, didn't I?
It's okay. I'd rather you be early than late.
I'll never be late.
Okay.
I'll always be early, but I'd rather be on time.
All right. I'm going to run, read the chat and talk to people. I'm going to run.
You run. Oh, you're telling me. It's like, okay. He's going to read the chat and talk to people. All right. Ask me anything. We got like 5 minutes. So hammer me. Say anything, do anything, ask me whatever you want to ask. Let's do this. Let me scroll down here. Oh, I forgot. There's a little bit of a delay because it's like nobody's asking me anything. Keep your foot in your mouth, Jade. Oh no, keep your foot on the gas. I got you. Thank you, Elk Forever. People that don't like him are brainwashed libtards. That's that's fair enough. Here's the situation with Iran is the biggest division in the MAGA movement. You could call it the situation with Iran. You can call it the situation with Israel. You can call it whatever you want. But yeah, that has been the driving force behind that. They're even having debates about it now, apparently. Let's see. Yeah, no, we're not at topless yet. That's the next hour. We're only 1 hour in, right? Yeah, okay, good. Scared me there. Elk, I thought, did we miss it? Let's see. Darius wants to see me topless. All right, Darius, DM me. Yeah, I'll send you a link to my OnlyFans. Let's see. It's okay to come out nowadays. Humanity scores. Where are the questions? Did I go in too early? Let's see. I think I did. Yeah. And we will talk about Israel this week. I'd asked Brock, I said, do you guys talk about Israel that much? He's like, no, not really. It's like, okay, cool. Then we're going to talk about it. By golly. Let's see. Have you voted in the primaries today? Yes. Not today, but I did vote. I voted early knowing that I'd be doing the show. So I have voted. And yes, I voted for all the right people in my particular area. Let's see, isn't it lovely? And no one talks about Ukraine. Yeah, no, that's great. That's been the best part about the whole Israel situation is that we don't talk about Ukraine anymore. Let's see, aliens. Good question, Kathy. Because of Disclosure Day, we'll be talking about aliens on Friday. Friday is the UFO day. Gonna have a whole show dedicated just to UFOs, aliens, demons. I'm gonna throw some conspiracies at you. I'm gonna bust out with some crazy stuff. But according to Brock, it's like that's not that crazy. We're already pretty aligned. I think the audience will be used to what you're saying. It's like, damn it, I thought I was being crazy. No, I'm just being normal. Let's see. Killing America. I'm trying to keep up. It's going pretty fast. Doing great. Thank you, Doc Wombat. I love the name. Let's see. Trump kind of stepped into it with Netanyahu's ego. How that play? It's a very good question. So Netanyahu does have a very big ego. Trump not only has a much bigger ego, he also has a much bigger stick. The Netanyahu needs Trump exponentially more than Trump needs Netanyahu. So yeah, I think he'll be fine. He'll be able to handle that one. Netanyahu will back down and eventually will do whatever is necessary to keep Trump on his side.
Good.
Let's see.
I think that's the biggest. Honestly, I think that's the divide right now between young people and MAGA.
It is the young people say that they're the
perceived
MAGA.
Hatred of, and it's Bibi. I believe it's all him.
No. The hatred for Israel has been going on for decades.
Well, yes,
millennia. So it's not just because of Bibi Netanyahu. If they had anybody else,
but I think it's more prevalent. I'm talking about younger people in general, like the younger Gen Z. They think that we're controlled by Israel and the money and all of it, but
but it has nothing to do with Bibi. If Bibi wasn't in there, if they had a different, it would still be the exact same thing.
Well, I think when I say Bibi, I mean because that's the face they see.
Sure, it's the only one they know.
Yeah, there needs to be a revolution, and there's one place you can get a revolution in healthcare is Health Revolution. info.healthrevolution.net. It will save you on your Obamacare. If you're under 65, relatively healthy, you can save money by getting the insurance you need instead of one big plan that encompasses everything you don't need, and you start paying for things you don't need. So info.healthrevolution.net, info@healthrevolution.net. Let me put up the thing so we have it here. I'm going to mute JD for a second. Right there. info.healthrevolution.net. Excuse me. 1-800-868-6187. Give them a call. See how they can help you. Get a plan that's for you. For you. Not for people who have nothing to do or live a different lifestyle than you. For you. info.healthrevolution.net. 800-868-6187. Let's bring JD back. You're back, JD.
Yay.
Fix your camera.
Yay.
Your camera's still black.
Oh, no. There we go.
Here we go.
Somebody told me that my link is jdrucker.com/talk. No, it works.
Yeah.
And I will
follow him whenever. You know what? I'm going to ask you guys, because you're great about this kind of stuff. You blew up Sean's podcast and his followers just by Sean filling in. Do the same on Rumble.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a second, because I'm going not this break, obviously, but next break, I will explain the future of the JD Rucker Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, JD Rucker.
Oh, I don't know if I'd call it filling in. I think it's more along the lines of just holding the spot down temporarily, because the great Wendy Bell cannot be filled in for. She is just that amazing. And I'm not trying to blow smoke here. There are very few people that I listen to. It's funny because yesterday Brock sent me a note about Joe Rogan doing something. I think he's being courted by like CBS or somebody to come over there and help that, or 60 Minutes or something. And I didn't take the story simply because I've never actually listened to Joe Rogan before. I know that sounds weird as a podcaster who's never listened to an entire episode of Joe Rogan, but I can't. I don't. And I don't dislike him. I've heard probably 1,000 clips from him, but I can't listen to him. I tried. I made it through, I think, like 22 minutes of the Trump interview. That's about it. It's about as much as I can get going. And again, there's nothing, I don't dislike him or anything like that. It's just like, okay, oh yeah, funny, huh? Yeah. And the dude is super talented, much more entertaining than I will ever be. I don't want to try to downplay it. It's just that I have a hard time listening to him. Wendy, I can listen to her show every day. It's just, she's my people, right? She is my people. So those who aren't my people include the Democrats, include those with Trump derangement syndrome. And it's really all they've got. Here's the biggest challenge they have, though. It's not just about Trump. It's the fact that they continue to be underwater, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter how much they pound on, oh, Trump is so bad, Trump is destroying this. Pew Research has them still at 58% unfavorably. Now that's how America views them. Then we're not talking about Congress. We're not talking, because their numbers are just so bad it's not even funny. And we're not talking about any individuals. We're talking about just the Democrat Party in general. Now, to put this into perspective, generally speaking, when you are the opposition party, it's very similar to being the backup quarterback. People tend to like you better. You know, if you're just sitting there, you're just opposing the people that are in charge. You usually get a better than 50% favorability. Democrats are eight points underwater still. And this is even with President Trump having his lowest polling numbers in his career. Now, granted, his polling numbers are only bad really because of the Iran war and the repercussions, especially when it comes to affordability, when it comes to gas prices, food prices, all that stuff. Yeah, that's going to hurt people, and they're going to view that negatively. But once the Iran war ends, once the nuclear program is no more, once the uranium is somehow secured or destroyed, once the Strait of Hormuz is opened back up, and then once things start to go a little bit back to normal, and the affordability issue is not as big of an issue. You will see his numbers continue to go up, and you will see the Democrats continue to go down. They're already still, despite being the opposition party, they are still underwater. And that does not bode well for them coming into this midterm. Generally speaking, I mean, if you look back for decades, okay, during the quote unquote first term, I know this is his second term, but there was a gap there. So we treat it like it's a first term because he's coming in. He came in with control of the House, his party having control of the House and the Senate. You go all the way back to like the 70s, okay? And it's always a bloodbath during the midterms. Always. Okay? This is why for a 8-year president, somebody who has 2 terms, okay, usually obviously back to back is the normal thing, except for President Trump and like a couple of others. But you have they will come in and they will have control of the House, control of the Senate for 2 years, and then the remaining 6 years of their presidency, if they do serve 2 terms, the remaining 6 years they will not control either the House, the Senate, or both. Okay, you saw that with well, we saw just now recently with Joe Biden, saw that with Barack Obama, saw that with George W. Bush, saw that with Bill Clinton. Okay, that's how it plays out. And again, you can go all the way back to the 70s before you find a time when that doesn't. This might be the first time since the 70s where the president might actually, his party might actually be able to retain control. And like I said earlier, if you missed it earlier, this is, to me, the most important midterm election of our lifetimes. And if you missed it earlier, I've never said that. Not in my entire commentary career. People say it, they were saying in 22, I'm like, it's important, but it's not that, nah, it's not the most important. Nor was 2018, nor 14, nor 10, nor 6, nor 2. They were important, but not the most important. This one is. This one is because the difference between what Trump can do and what will have to be forced to contend with if the Democrats get control of either or both, not a good thing. Holy crap. I've got lots of notes. We're going to skip over some of these because, again, my appetite, my ability to speak quickly has not been able to overcome this long. I do lots of research. I do research for hours before these shows. And I always think of, I'll be able to squeeze that into, there's 30 seconds, there's a minute. And of course, I end up talking a lot longer than that. I'll just read you some of the notes that I took. Reactive messaging. Okay. This is what they're doing. This is what Democrats do whenever they're not in power, and oftentimes when they're in power. It's the whole idea is that they don't have thoughts or ideas of their own, so all they can do is react to what Republicans do, or in this case, react to what Trump and his administration are doing. Reactive messaging is keyed to Trump's word choices. This is their strategy, okay? This is what they're trying to do. Multiple Democrats have built talking points around Trump mocking the word affordability, because, again, we're facing that now with the whole Iran situation. And they're letting his statements set the frame rather than driving their own, because, again, they don't have any. The notion that this is his economy it's a double-edged framing. Tying everything to Trump means even economic messaging that is structured as an attack on him rather than distinct Democrat visions will blur the lines between policy and opposition. Americans are getting smarter, maybe not necessarily more intelligent, but we're getting more used to, more accustomed to political speech. It's been happening every election. We're better at seeing through the BS, right? And unfortunately, that's still not most of us. I would still say that you're what many people, including Rush Limbaugh, used to call low information voters. They still account for a majority of the voter base, but it's getting smaller. People are starting to become more aware, not just of the politics, but also of the way that campaigns are run. They're starting to see through the BS more and more and more every election. That does benefit Republicans. I'm not saying that Republicans don't BS a lot. They do, especially some of them BS probably more than they tell the truth. But it does benefit Republicans knowing that Democrats rely on BS. they live in a world of lies. Their voters, especially their more radical base, exists in a life of lies, and this is where they thrive. So when you have them having to choose between, do I lie to my base, can keep lying to my base, keep them happy, or do I start telling the truth for the people that are waking up? It's that, that meme where you got the guy sweating and he's got to choose the button, lie to keep the base, tell the truth to keep the handful of Democrats that are waking up. It's like, which one do I choose? Which one do I choose? Well, apparently, at least for this election cycle, they are still choosing what I consider to be the easy button, which is to lie to their base. Keep telling them that, oh, no, you're totally gonna love it. No. We totally look at Tom Steyer out there in California saying, you know what? This guy, I mean, girl, he's the AB Hernandez's girl. Is girl, totally a girl. Okay, dude, you're a girl, right? And you're winning all the races, and it has nothing to do with the fact that you're not a girl. That's the part of the lie. And it will be their undoing. Lord willing, it will be their undoing. It'll either be their undoing or our undoing. And by our, I'm talking about the United States of America. Either their lies continue to get exposed, as they have been. They've been getting exposed very nicely for the last 5 or 6 years. Either their lies continue to get exposed and we start to bring sanity back, or their lies continue to win the messaging wars, win the legacy media wars, win the truth wars, and this nation will sink. It doesn't matter whether we win the elections or not. At that point, if we do continue to live in a post-truth society that Democrats want us to live in, which we are still living in, by the way. I know we're seeing some things that are getting better when it comes to messaging, when it comes to knowledge. It is getting a little bit better, but it's not. The work still needs to be done. And we see that again just by even looking in California and looking at the fact that there are girls who are losing to a boy who's out there winning track meets. Gosh, few things are going to chap my khakis as much as that particular topic. It gets me so riled up every time. All right, when we get back, we will finish up the TDS segment, and then we will move on to probably more TDS. I have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm going to share it all with you here on the Wendy Bell radio program. TDS. I have a derangement syndrome towards Trump derangement syndrome. I haven't been looking at the chat as much. I'm sorry. Anything fun in there? Where did Brock go? Did Brock leave us? Am I running this solo?
No, Brock's working.
No, really. What are you doing?
I'm going to tell you about Healthy Cell. Because everybody needs to be healthy. I need JD to stay healthy, so we need a fill-in. He's able to fill in. That's as simple as that. I personally, I haven't in about 2 weeks take the REM. I think it's fantastic. It helps me fall asleep. It helps me stay asleep. And when I get up to pee in the middle of the night, it helps me go back to sleep. Wendy takes the focus recall. I told you this yesterday. Literally every day at 11:15, there's an alarm set on my phone to remind her. I know she's taking the REM. I know they have heart and the cardiovascular. They have something for blood sugar and keeping it regulated. They come in these little squeeze pouches. I take the Daily Multi Iron Omega. These little pouches. I don't like taking pills. I already have to take pills every day. So stuff like this is fantastic. I take the Immune Boost in the wintertime since I can't get a day off. So I don't miss. I stay protected. I use Healthy Cell. I know Wendy takes the immune super boosts also. So healthycell.com/Wendy, healthycell.com/Wendy. Check it out. You can get bundles. You can try one, you can try them all. I recommend the Focus and Recall. I recommend just the daily, the immune super boost. I think they have something for hair and skin and nails. So check them out. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Your camera. Okay. You don't have to go off camera when I do that unless you want to.
I
You don't want to endorse products. By being on camera, you're endorsing products?
Oh gosh, no. Has nothing to do with that.
Oh, okay.
It's just while you're talking, it gives me an opportunity to, take my shirt off, do a little bit of work. Trying to refresh this. We're only at 1,200. We're at 1,290. We're not going to make it.
We're at 1.3.
1.3. Not good. Not good.
Get us back to the leaderboard. Numbers across Rumble right now are down.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Are you trying to? You're doing anything you can to keep my shirt on?
I check when Wendy's on too. I look at the big box. The big box on the Rumble homepage gives you a how many people essentially are watching Rumble. It gives you a good estimation. And the guy on there now has only got 5,000 people watching. And that's automatic for everybody that goes in the Rumble. So that number, when Wendy's on it, we've seen upwards of 20,000.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Okay, everybody call your friends. Oh, wait, I promised I would be retweeting an X. Let's see.
Stick to what you're saying, dude.
Yeah, I know.
All right, here we go.
There is good news out of all this. We can rip on the Democrats for their horrible messaging, their bad choices. And I think it is a bad choice, by the way. I think that if they really, really wanted to, they have the potential to put together a very good messaging system. I'm not going to tell you what that is because, you never know. Maybe a Democrat's listening. But there are things that they can say that have absolutely positively nothing to do with President Trump. Nothing to do with President Trump. They could say those things, and it would, I think, benefit them. But that would be harder, and they would have to unify the messaging. And it's, again, I'm not going to give them any ideas. Right now, they're not reaching a particular voting group, and that's the young people. The young people, which should be their strongest group, they're getting fed up with all the TDS talk. The young people, generally speaking, you can see the anecdotally, kids hate Trump. They don't hate him as much as the boomer Democrats or the Gen X Democrats. Those people have an absolute fury and rage against Trump. And unfortunately for the Democrats, they're the donors, right? They're the ones with the money. But the passion, which is coming from their younger people, their younger voters, they're more against just republicanism in general than they are against Trump. I'm not saying there's not a whole lot of them out there that have TDS. I'm just saying the percentages are lower. And the data even shows all this. Younger voters are frustrated by exactly this being the fact that they do not have an appropriate messaging, that they don't believe that the Democrat Party is saying or doing the right things. Reporting notes that younger Democrats are dissatisfied with what they call cautious leadership and ineffective messaging. Don't take this the wrong way. When I say they're not interested in Trump, it's not that they don't necessarily hate him. It's that they don't care as much about him. They care more about, oh my gosh, we're on stolen land. Dang it, we're on stolen land. How can anybody be illegal on stolen land? They're more furious with ICE. They're more furious with aspects of President Trump's policies. I would argue that they are more opposed to Republicans in general than the TDS sufferers in the older generations. But again, when you're a candidate and the people that are donors, the people that have money to donate, They're the ones that have the Trump derangement syndrome. You've even seen, there's an example, and Brock, I don't know if you have this video. You'd sent it to me. You probably didn't load it up, and it's fine if you didn't. If you had it, you just start playing it at any point. But Van Jones came out, and he actually said that he's going to be sticking with Graham Plattner, not because of anything other than that Susan Collins won't oppose or won't stop deranged Donald Trump. And Van Jones, for those who don't know, he's not exactly the most radical Democrat out there. I mean, he's a former Republican, and he is on CNN, and he's occasionally one of the more lucid ones. But even he's okay with backing the Nazi tattooed, kick using guy that's sexting a dozen women that apparently, for whatever reason, you think that it would be over for him, but some people don't seem to think it is, including Van Jones, who's going to be backing him. Why? Because he thinks that Susan Collins, who is the most lukewarm, milquetoast rhino Republican in the Senate, that she's still, and she opposes Trump regularly, but that she doesn't impose him enough. And so Van Jones is willing to go and still continue to back Graham Plattner. It's ludicrous. He drew a parallel to Bill Clinton. We knew, you can't have an election cycle without invoking Bill Clinton. At some point or another, you got to be able to throw him in. That guy, it's so funny. We look back, and I remember when he was in the White House with Monica Lewinsky and others, that we thought he was just as bad as it gets. But it got so much worse. Bill Clinton might be the last semi-moderate who's been a Democrat in the White House. And no, Joe Biden was not a moderate, because Joe Biden wasn't really president. I don't know if it was Dr. Jill or Hunter or Otto Penn or somebody else, but he clearly wasn't making the decisions. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, was making decisions, and as bad as they seemed at the time, I'd sure love to have those today as far as how the Democrats are reacting to things. He has aged poorly in more ways than one. His legacy has aged horribly, of course, but at least he wasn't crazy. Today, the Democrats are willing to embrace a Nazi, a full-blown Nazi, while calling Trump a Nazi, before they would be willing to do anything that could be beneficial for him. After the break, we're going to be talking about legal aliens. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Gosh, we're only halfway through. God bless. Coming up soon on the Wendy Bell radio program. Okay, I'm back to chat. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you to the person. Who's that? Demanda78 for posting my Rumble channel. That's right.
Way up.
Say again?
Let's get that way up.
Well, here's the thing. Let me, before you do the next read, I want to just say real quick. I was talking to Brock. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I was talking to Brock before the show, and we were talking about, because I am, for the last 8 or 9 months, maybe even longer, I don't know, it could be longer. I used to do a 2-hour daily show just before Wendy Bells, and I would do it. It was on the Gateway Pundit. It was a good show. We'd do it 2 hours like clockwork every day on a schedule, yada, yada, yada. And then I had, things changed, and I have been doing, infrequent, not every day, not at the same time, not always 2 hours. I've been living the free life, just doing my show whenever. Starting next week, we want to get back into a schedule. So I had thought, and Brock had mentioned, if I were to start doing a show that came up immediately after Wendy's show, that there's, what did you call it? A raid?
Yeah, we can raid the stream, raid your stream. I would ask Amanda to do it, or one of the other mods to do it, or myself. And all it does is give people a link to quick and easily tap on that link and go to your show, right
Nice.
to your show. So your page.
Well, I would love to. If
Well,
I
if
can
it's
make
not
the
next
schedule
week or
work.
whenever it is, you can contact me. You have my number, and
Oh, it'll be next week. I'm gonna make. I wanted this to carry over. Like I want starting next Monday. I want to go back to the full blown show. I've done 2-hour shows. I've done 4-hour shows. I've done radio. I've done Rumble. I want to get back into a groove, and I was thinking along these lines last time. I guess hosted for Wendy. This time, I'm just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it. We're just gonna hammer it home and make.
what software do you use?
I just use OBS and Restream.
Okay, so something very similar to
Yeah.
what we use.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to have your head examined, you can go to the Simkovich Concussion Institute. They'll do that for you. They'll check you out. They'll give you a free consultation to figure out if he can help you, if you have migraines or essential tremors that Wendy talks about. Our friend Diane, who went and saw him and is now 85% better from being able to hold a glass. You don't know how bad your life is and how much you're affected by concussions and TMIs or TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, until you start to feel better. And you thought your new normal will that change from feeling like garbage to not feeling like garbage. But you can give them a call, 412-366-3700, 412-366-3700, Simkovich, concussioninstitute.com. You're going to speak to a live person. They all know what they can help you with and what they can't help you with. So people come from all over the country. He was telling me about a guy who got kicked in the head by a horse in, I want to say it was Alaska, that came. He sees professional athletes. He's got a pretty big practice, and just to get people back to normal. And there's no needles, there's no surgery, the recovery time is the time that you're there. So check them out, Simkovich, concussioninstitute.com, 412-366-3700.
Nice.
Camera,
sorry. I got to remember that.
I think once you go, do you flip to another page?
Yes.
That's what it probably is.
So I've got 2 screens with 6 windows. I got my notes, and I got you, and then I've got the clock, and I've got Rumble, and I've got my software, right? So I got it all everywhere. And when I go to, couldn't make an extra window. So when I go to the my Twitter feed, where I have my news feed, like I have a list of news feeds to keep up, see if there's anything happening, which there is, by the way. That's where it takes me off, or I take myself off, because I don't want to sit there. All right, I will be very transparent and say
I will say this while you're sitting there. If you like our content, Wendy's content, we do find a lot of stories through all of JD's sources. So jdrecord.com, we find stuff there. He's involved with the Liberty Daily, we find stuff there. His Substack, we find stuff there. So if you like the content, definitely check all his sites out.
Thank you, sir. I almost wish that I could be watching Marco Rubio right now, because apparently, judging by what I'm seeing in my X feed, he's been saying some pretty amazing things. I'm not telling anybody to stop listening to the Wendy Bell Radio Show with JD Rucker guest hosting. You can always catch the replay of what Rubio's saying, or the highlights is probably better. Who wants to sit there and listen to congressional testimony anyway, Senate testimony? But still, I'm looking through this stuff, and he's hammering it. The reason I have to keep looking at my feed is to see if there's any news about Los Angeles or California. Of course, we have the election today, the big election, and it's not just here, to be clear. There are elections in many states, Montana, New Mexico, Iowa, South Dakota, Jersey's having one. There are many places that are having elections right now, but California is important because it's California, and also because I'm here. This is where I'm at. So I keep checking. Is anything happening? Are they having any problems at the ballot boxes? Anything bad going on? Anything good going on? One of the things that I would argue is not necessarily bad, but unfortunate, is that Chad Bianco didn't stop his campaign, suspend it, and endorse Steve Hilton. I still think Steve Hilton's going to win. I think that he's going to not win the general election. That's a tough one, but I think that he will still end up in the top two, despite the polls. The polls are showing, oh, he's third place. Tom Steyer jumped ahead of him. The polls are ridiculous. The polls are manufactured. The betting markets, last I checked, still had him as likely, very likely, to be in the final two, him being Steve Hilton. It'll likely be Javier Becerra, who is a disaster, versus Steve Hilton, who is good. We've had him on the show before. And Tom Steyer will probably get pushed out. Now, Tom Steyer, I think, would have been an even worse disaster than Javier Becerra. But if, God forbid, if it's those two, if Steve Hilton gets X'd out, that would be horrible for California elections in general, because if you don't have anybody on your team and the top of the ticket, there's just less likely of a chance that you'll vote in the general election or the November election. So that's the biggest reason I want Hilton to be amongst the top two. But if he doesn't, the other thing that'll happen is that Bianco is going to get blamed. There's going to be a lot of hate that's directed towards him because he doesn't have a chance. He hasn't really had a chance ever since President Trump endorsed Steve Hilton. And that was well over a month ago. So I would argue that Bianco should have dropped out. And I'm not a fan of saying, oh, you can't win, so drop out. Somebody wants to run, they run. In this particular scenario, I think that it was a mistake. I think that he should have seen the writing on the wall and done the right thing. Now, people keep asking. They kept asking Hilton, is like, why don't you just reach out to him? Why don't you just offer him a position in your administration if you win? And Hilton came up this morning. He's like, people ask me that all the time. I'm not going to do the British accent. People ask me that all the time, and I've tried to reach out to him. He won't contact me back. So it is what it is. And like I said, I don't generally root for the people that I consider to be rhinos. And I would say that both Bianco and Hilton would be rhinos in any other state other than California. California, they're hardcore, okay, hardcore Republicans. In any other state, or most other states, not any other state, but in most other states, they would be considered to be, pretty moderate. I don't know if rhino is the right word for them, but they would not be considered to be staunch conservatives. Here, they're about as conservative as we can get in the state. This is a state that the last time we had a Republican win a major election, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is about as lukewarm milquetoast, moderate, maybe even in some ways, he's very much a Democrat. Okay, but he was a California Republican. So there is that. Oh, let me see. We go back to my notes. Here's a great story. Speaking of Jersey, and this ties into what we were talking about earlier, as far as the younger people. We'll call it. So you got the donor class. That's going to be the Democrats that are Gen X or Boomers. Then you have what I like to call the activist class or the rioting class, or perhaps a better way to put them would be the Soros class, because these are the people, and you could even call them the Singham class if you're looking at Neville Roy Singham as being the driving financial force behind the No Kings riots or the anti-ICE riots. Between him and the Soros organizations, they have so many charities, quote unquote, charities in the United States that fund these kids, and they get these kids out there to go do their thing. Well, those kids aren't very happy in New Jersey, and they're going so far as to say that the radical, I think she's radical, governor Mickey, is it Mikey? I think it's Mikey. We'll call her Miss Cheryl, right? She's being accused by the activist rioting class of Democrats as spreading MAGA propaganda. Yes, they think that she is too MAGA because of her willingness to, quote unquote, defend ICE at Delaney Hall in Newark. For those who have not been keeping track, that is a debacle. It's a disaster. It's a disgrace. It is so disgusting that we have these people out there that are doing physical harm to law enforcement, that are basically in many ways taking over the streets in the area, and doing so in a very well organized and well funded manner. Nick Sortor, a friend of mine, independent journalist, went there, and he was able to infiltrate, to sneak into the area where the activists, the quote unquote activists, are. And I mean, they've got these tents set up with tables that have equipment and signs and food. They had a plate of like catered lasagna. Okay. These Marxists, we're fighting for the people, for the ICE people, or not the ICE people, but they're fighting for the people that are being detained by ICE, that are eating such poor, horrible food in bad conditions, and they're hunger striking, and they're just so, nobody's illegal in stolen land, and it's so bad, and oh my gosh, look at that lasagna. Woo! Yay Soros! Yay Singham! Look at that. I mean, we're talking about a big old pan of catered lasagna just sitting there. He says, "Hey, I'm looking for a Band-Aid." They're like, "Oh, it's over by the medical tent." Okay. This is a grassroots effort of protesters that have a medical tent. And he's walking over there. I mean, they got these tables lined up with all this stuff. Point is that those quote unquote Marxists, or what they think of themselves as Marxists, they're spoiled brats is what they are. But they're actually complaining about Mikey Cheryl. The Soros funding is coming through his various organizations that run through Open Society. And let's just say that, I have to be very careful because this isn't my show. Let's say that there is a very good chance that portions of that funding may be illegally used to actually pay for some of these quote unquote protests. And some of that funding is going beyond just saying, okay, come out here and help to protest. They may actually be getting paid extra if they get arrested. They may get paid extra if they can do actual harm. And again, this would be funded through nonprofits, or allegedly through nonprofits, including, is it called Indivisible? I think it's called Indivisible, which is again tied to Open Societies, funded by Open Societies. That's Soros's group, and yeah, they're doing the evil stuff. Look, I am all for legal, lawful, peaceful protesting. I think that it's wrong for those who are saying, "Oh my gosh, arrest them all." No, don't arrest them all. Arrest the ones who are breaking the law, right? If they're just out there, if they are legitimately protesting, not blocking traffic, not blocking anybody, which is considered kidnapping, but if somebody wants to go out there with a sign and express their grievances over this, that's legal, that's lawful. Don't arrest them. Don't do anything to them. If they want to block a driveway, as they were doing last week, blocking the driveway at the ICE facility, having people lining up, sitting down in a line, and only allowing vehicles to go through if they could be searched from the outside. But still, it's like, okay, stay right there, vehicle. They have their flashlights. They're looking through the windows to see if there's any illegal alien criminals, many of them violent. Oh, no. And they whistle over, no criminal illegal aliens in this car. And then they would allow them to go through, allow law enforcement to go through. Think about that. Actually, don't think about that. Just that is illegal. And yes, that should deserve people getting arrested for it. And yet they weren't. President Trump has pushed for ICE and Customs and Border Protection to be more, I guess you could say, what's the word for it? To be less controversial. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, if I disagree with President Trump, I adore him and I support him. But in this case, that's wrong. We don't want them to be using kids' gloves. If somebody's breaking the law and blocking ICE vehicles or any vehicles at all, arrest them. They are breaking the law. Get them out of there. It's frustrating. I mean, and again, I highlight the fact these kids that are out there doing these things, they think that radical Democrat Mikey Sherrill is spreading MAGA propaganda because she's saying that the people aren't being that mistreated. She's inspected it. She's looked in there. They aren't being mistreated, and they're not. I mean, their argument, what they're claiming is that they're not getting the right food. It's not that like they're not being offered food. They're getting enough calories. They're getting enough food. They don't like the food. I mean, even our illegal aliens in detention are treated better than citizens in many other countries. And you got these radicals driven by George Soros, driven by Neville Roy Singham, saying that we're the bad guys. Makes no sense. After the break, we are going to go back to my favorite topic of the week. I was laughing about it yesterday. I'm not laughing today because it's getting bad. Talking about Graham Plattner, amongst other things. On the flip side of the Wendy Bell radio program break. Wendy Bell Radio's live. Oh my gosh, we've only got 10 minutes. We have to double up our rumbles in the next 10 minutes or I go naked. And Brock's not going to come back.
It started with shirtless to naked? That escalated fast.
Well, all I'm wearing is a shirt.
No, you said before you have to put pants on.
Are you calling me out?
Stop with your fake news.
Are you calling me out for my
lying?
It is a lie. It is a lie. And I can't find it. It's funny. I got rid of them because you told me that. So when I turn my camera off, it's so I can read my Twitter feed, and I have to put on my old man glasses. And they are super, 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 super thick. But I accidentally tossed them. Now I can't find them. Where did I put them?
Well, I guess got old timers too. No. Bad eyes and old timers.
Old timers disease.
You know what help with that?
What?
Exercise.
What can help?
You can go to morgainsfitness.com, look into her Ignite 90 program, and become buff. I showed you pictures yesterday. Wendy shows you them all the time of people who have changed their entire physique just by doing her program. She's going to tell you what to eat. She's going to show you the workouts to do. I keep saying that maybe she can build me a butt to keep up my pants, but she can help you. She's going to tell you what to eat, what to do, how to work out, and she's going to whoop your ass into shape. Period. End of story. She's going to whoop your butt to get into shape. Now, she did text me this morning to tell me, and I'm going to read it so I don't screw it up. Um, we are having another clothing order online sale. It's on the website, runs till June 21st. Wendy loves her workout gear. I see Wendy before she goes to the gym through the live stream before we're talking, and she wears her gear to her trainer. So check out morgainsfitness.com, get in shape, get some clothes to support a woman who's supported us from the beginning. From the very beginning, Kelly's been on board. She even had plaques made to put up outside of her gym. Proud sponsor of Wendy Bell Radio. So check her out. Check out morgainsfitness.com. Get in shape, get your butt whooped, and look good for summer.
Nice.
There you go. I'm done for the day.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, right. I mean, I can run through them all again.
No need. We already know to go. Where's the place I'm supposed to go for the XXX?
That's Juvenile. That's bloodflow7.com/Wendy. But to clean up, LA, they should seriously go to disinfectwithsniper.com and disinfect in LA completely. Cleans up the poop, the smell. Disinfectwithsniper.com. And Spencer Pratt can go buy a bunch of 250 flags to celebrate.
Nice.
Because they're on sale. Now's the time to get them.
Wow. An illegal alien who failed his CDL test 10 times finally gets it in California and proceeds to drive across the country and kill 3 people in Florida.
I believe it was Adam Schiff who blamed Trump for the fires, too. So here
You
we
are
go.
correct. Graham Plattner. That's not me. I'm JD Rucker. I'm filling in for Wendy Bell, but Graham Plattner is the candidate that's almost certainly going to win the nomination for the Democrats for the U.S. Senate race in the state of Maine. He's might not be alone. There's a chance. Janet Mills, who's the current governor, 2-term governor, 77 years old. She dropped out in late April, but she is threatened, or at least not, I wouldn't say threatened, but she has acknowledged that, hey, guys, don't forget, I'm still on the ballot. And does she have time? No. And I think they knew that going in. They being whoever it is that's going after Plattner. But not everybody got the message. Not everybody on the Democrat side got the message. Apparently, there's a guy named David Cleon, Klion. Cleon. I'm getting all kinds of weird names today. David Cleon, who said that he would actually prefer to have Graham Plattner, who is a quote unquote a mess. This is what he called Graham Plattner, a messier candidate than Susan Collins. A messier candidate. This is a guy who has it's not just like a Nazi-like tattoo. No, it's a full-blown Nazi SS. This is what the guards had on themselves tattooed. The Nazi guards, okay, at the concentration camps. This is what they had on their bodies, and this guy has it. This guy has talked about how, I'm not even going to say it because we're on radio, but how there's certain things that he likes to do when he gets to certain odors in his nose from porta potties. I mean, this guy he's sick. I mean, he is sick. And this radical journalist, calls himself a journalist, writes for The Nation. He's a columnist named David Cleon, says that, oh, he's just messy. He's a messier candidate. This is who we're going against, folks. This is why they embrace their TDS, because they're not just wrong politically or culturally, though they are. They're also, in many ways, they're deranged. Thus the TDS, but they're also just really nasty human beings. Many of them, perhaps most of them. Like, I'm not saying nasty as in like, oh, he smells bad. I'm saying nasty as in their minds, their ideologies. And as many of you know, I'm a Bible believing Christian. I think that there's a connection there. I'm not saying that everybody who professes to be a Bible believing Christian is great or awesome or doesn't do anything bad. And if they aren't Bible believing Christians, then they're terrible. They're awful. I've known some really nice and we'll call them effective humanitarians that are not Christians. And I've known some full-blown, truly legitimately evil people who claim to be Christians. So there's not a direct correlation that's 100%, but you can say that because Democrats tend to be less faith-oriented, at least based upon the Christian faith, that might be contributing to their being just despicable people. And because Republicans tend to lean more towards being Christians than not, that might be a part of the reason that they are generally less despicable. I'm wading into some very dangerous waters. I get it. Brock is probably sitting there thinking to myself, oh boy, here we go. But I said yesterday, I'll say it again today. I don't mind getting preachy. I don't. People say, oh, you should never get preachy. Look, I'll get preachy all day. Okay. I think we need to, if anything on radio, we need to get preachier, but I digress. We're not going to be preaching today. We are going to be talking about these races. We're going to be talking about LA one last time. And then we're going to get into something that I think is very beneficial. At least I hope it is. And we're going to get into strategies. I've been sitting there ripping on the Democrats and their lack of a strategy, their lack of cohesion, their lack of unity, their lack of everything. But we can say a lot of the same things about Republicans as well. There is definitely a quote unquote MAGA civil war. How big it is, I think it's smaller than some people think, but it's there. It's real. It's happening. But we do have an advantage over Democrats, a huge advantage. We actually have a strategy. We have a way that we can make America not just great again, but make America better than it is right now. And I'll explain what that strategy is after the break. I'll give you a hint, though. Nick Shirley. We'll figure it out after the break. Thank you for listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, you took it to the edge there.
I got my timing down.
What's that?
I got my timing down. Dude, I'm telling you, by next week, I'm going to be great at this.
That's always the case, isn't it?
Nope, we're not doing. So somebody asked, are we doing a good news or bad?
No.
Bad joke Friday. No, we're doing UFO. I'm going to reveal to you what the UFO UAP phenomenon really is. I'm going to explain to you what the alien transgender, transdimensional, whatever you want to call them, creatures are. I'm going to reveal everything ahead of Disclosure Day, the Steven Spielberg movie that's coming out. I've actually been doing a lot of research on this, and my wife has been helping me with that research, and she's smarter than me. So we'll use her words, not mine.
So I have a question. Do you have any guns? Are you allowed to have guns in California?
I am going to read my Twitter feed and not answer that question.
But basically, he was telling you he probably has less guns than I have in the studio right now.
I think he has guns.
I guarantee I have one.
I think I have guns.
Oh, your camera's off.
I know. I've got my glasses on.
Well, we already saw you with your glasses on. Don't be a chick. Yes, those glasses make you look fat. So I can
It's
say
not
that.
it's not the fat. It's the. I mean, they're thick, man. You get to like see them to my soul.
Well,
Like,
let me see.
They magnify everything.
No one wants to see your little design on your. Is it?
You want me to take my shirt off? Okay, I'll show you the glasses if you let me take my shirt off. Your call.
Yeah, that's not even a call. I'd rather look at what I'm looking at now than you with your shirt off. I don't even want to look at me with my shirt off, for God's sakes.
We're out of sponsors, aren't we?
I can work it for you.
Topless Tuesday.
Let's not make that a thing.
Hey, it's radio. We can do that. Sorry.
See, what JD doesn't realize that when his camera's off, it stresses me out.
Oh no, I realize that. That's why I
Oh,
do
you
it.
do? Oh. Well then. Then there's that. Ask him some questions in the chat so he has to come back on camera to answer.
Okay, I'll come back on camera. Damn it. There we go.
Thank you. Oh, geez, look at those glasses.
Yeah, they are thick.
No, leave them on. It makes you look smart. Holy cow.
I'm telling you, they're thick.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Yeah. I'm blind. I am blind as a bat.
The bat's blind?
Well, that's why people ask me, why don't you ever text me back? It's because I can't read my texts. And I refuse to do the old man thing and make the, set the phone to where the text is bigger.
Why?
Because I'm not old.
How old are you?
30.
In what year? You have a 31-year-old kid. So you're at least, I'm going to say 55. 60.
30.
Oh my, he's worse than a woman. At least Wendy embraces it. She tells everybody your age, I swear, every day.
Well, I'm not Wendy, am I? Uh-huh.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Let's see. What are we doing
Oh,
time-wise?
someone said you should never ask a girl her age. I'll just say that's a family member of mine saying that.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to hear uh-oh.
I am 30. No, I am in my 50s. I'm not going to tell you what year.
Okay. Well, that's not old. I'm in my 50s.
My body is old. I don't. It's the glasses. Here's the thing: is that when you got a camera, okay, when you have a show, what you don't want are screenshots of you in bad situations. That's why I'm not actually going to take my shirt off, not because scared of my shirt being off, but because that would be weird. And
you're scared of it.
You'd never invite me.
I'm not going to speak for everybody, but
I'm just saying that it's not a vanity thing. It's a professionalism thing. You don't want to be on camera for screenshots.
Oh, people screenshot us all the time.
I know. Exactly. Which is why
whatever. That's the way I look at it. Whatever. If that's what gets your excitement for the day.
Oh, stop it. It's not about vanity.
I stopped caring what people thought.
Do you
Probably
support your
when I was
family with
16.
how you appear on camera?
What's that?
Do you support your family based upon your appearance on camera?
No.
Because I do. Just saying.
You support family.
My family is based upon what I do, my appearance on camera. Therefore, I want my appearance on camera to be as good as possible.
Oh,
Just saying.
all right. Here we go. Uh,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You know, you can be in the middle of a hurricane.
I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
People can yell at you.
So I am going to tell you that we have to Trump.
North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things.
We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do.
And in this business, right is still right. Even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, J.D. Rucker.
Filling in JD Rucker. That's it's funny. I don't get to hear that very often. I do fill in from time to time. I actually was doing a show last night with a couple of gentlemen filling in, and it is fun. But starting next week, I'm going to be returning to my old show. The JD Rucker show is something that I am very proud of, not because it's my show or because it's got my name, but because it has a history that goes back to shortwave radio. It goes back to the early days of Rumble. It goes back to a lot of things, and it does need to be revved up once again. I would encourage you, if you want to hear me beyond this week, beyond with Wendy Bell, that you check it out. jdrucker.com is where I will be posting all of my shows going forward starting next Monday. Speaking of posting, Heidi Montag, is that how you pronounce it? I didn't know Spencer Pratt. I didn't know who he was before this whole LA run. And I didn't know who Heidi Montag was. Montag, I don't know. But she seems to be actually an extraordinarily supportive and intelligent person when it comes to helping him run his race. And she went on to X today. Today, of course, is election day out here in California. She went on and said, "May God's will be done." Now, we as those of us who are Bible-believing Christians can understand that that's probably the best thing that anybody can say. This isn't about, oh, let's pray for a victory. Let's pray for this. No, pray for God's will. That alone. I've said before, I was saying it yesterday, I'll say it again today. God picks our leaders. God determines who is going to lead. And if God wills it that Spencer Pratt is supposed to be the next mayor of Los Angeles, there's nothing Karen Bass or Nithya Raman or CNN or Gavin Newsom or anybody else can do to stop that. And if God wills for Spencer Pratt to not be the next mayor of Los Angeles, there's nothing you or I or anybody else could do that will force that to happen. So I'm glad. It's good to see her out there on X saying the right things. Speaking of X, Elon Musk has been really focused hard. I mean, hard on, and when he latches onto a topic, he really hammers it. He hammers it hard for until he's done hammering it. And he's been really focused on this Henry Nowak. Is that how you pronounce it? Henry Nowak story. For those who don't know, it's devastating. I mean, it is legitimately devastating. We're just now getting the body cam footage of it, and I'm definitely not going to show it to you. It's that bad. But basically, he was confronted by a migrant. He is a white man. I think he's 18 years old, if I recall. He was confronted by a migrant in England. He was stabbed by the migrant. The police came, and the migrant said that Henry was being racist, so they arrested him. They put him in cuffs. They put him on the ground. He said, "I've been stabbed." He said that like 9 times, and the police are like, "No, you haven't, mate," and they let him bleed out and die. He actually literally said at multiple times that I can't breathe. This is the George Floyd scenario. Except in this case, it wasn't drugs in his system. It was a knife that was plunged into him by a migrant. And nobody's talking about it. You know, here, after the George Floyd video came out, we had cities burning. And this is a guy, a career criminal, who he wasn't stabbed. He had a policeman who was restraining him. And after you see the entire video, of course, we now know that it's not like, oh, they just took him and they threw him on the ground and put their knee, Derek Chauvin's knee in his back. No, they were trying for like 18 minutes just to get him in the car. He's a big man. And then when they finally couldn't get it, it's like, okay, we got him cuffed. Let's just restrain him until we can get him in the car. And then, you know, the rest is unfortunately history. And then many American cities burned as a result. This guy, Henry, because he's a white guy, he gets stabbed by a migrant. Migrant claims racism. Cops are told that he can't breathe, told that he's been stabbed. They tell him that he hasn't been stabbed, and he dies. Well, Tommy Robinson is on it. Elon Musk is on it. Rupert Lowe, Alice Smith. It is now finally starting to get some attention. But this really is the state of the world. And I often look to what's happening in other aspects, other nations within Western society. Australia, England, France, across Europe. And we can use those as warnings. We can use those as ways that we can prepare or do better. Or we could do what oftentimes happens far too much, which is that we don't heed the warnings and those things start happening here. And it goes in both directions, by the way. Yeah, I think that the Western society should, and in many ways has, heeded the warnings that when they started seeing the lunacy with the LGBTQIA plus supremacy that has been taking over the United States for the last decade. Other nations saw it and they started to sort of back off on it. Not nearly enough, but they didn't fully embrace the pride flag as much as we have, or as much as we did. Things are changing. And this is why, I know I always return back to the politics of it all, but we have to. This is still the most important election, as far as a midterm election, that we've had in our lifetimes. And we can't ignore that. We need a strategy. And to me, the best strategy out there is the one that we've already seen. There has been fraud, right? There's been fraud throughout human history. And here in the United States, there has been massive widespread fraud, really since we became a wealthy nation. You could take it back at least 100 years, 120 years, we'll say, that fraud was really starting to ramp up. And of course, especially in blue cities and blue states, it has become a way of life for many people. And this wasn't unknown. It's not like, oh my gosh, nobody knew about it, and it wasn't brand new. It's not like, oh, these daycares just started popping up last week. No, they were simply ignored by legacy media, ignored by bureaucrats, ignored by politicians. And I would say at least the last two, maybe all three of those groups were benefiting from the fraud. But one guy changed the narrative. I don't think you can really overstate the impact that Nick Shirley has had. This is a kid, okay? Was he 23? I mean, this is a kid with an iPhone that just decided to knock on doors and ask questions. He said something is funny about this Leering Center. So he went and asked. He started asking other people. He started realizing that, hey, there really are other people out there that are looking into this. Maybe not legacy media or bureaucrats or politicians, but there are activist groups out there. And he started asking them questions. And they started pointing him in the right direction. And he found the Leering Centers in Minneapolis. He said, wow, this looks pretty bad. And then after that, he decided, hey, let's go to California. I heard that there's some massive corruption, even more corruption than the Leering Centers, if we look at the hospice system, especially in Los Angeles. And then started finding some people that knew some things, and utilizing his reach, he was able to start getting those things done. Now, what's happened since then? You got J.D. Vance. He's got the task force. They're starting to go after people. Dr. Oz walking the streets of L.A., finding fraud and corruption there. Scott Bessent doing his part. You've got attorneys general and district attorneys and U.S. attorneys especially that are starting to make waves. Why did all this happen? Again, the corruption's not new. The fraud's not new. The only thing that's new is Nick Shirley exposing it on a wide reach. Put it on his channel, put it out on X. Let's help push it. Other people help push it. This is the strategy that I believe Republicans need to embrace. We'll be talking about strategy. Great. Listen to Wendy Bell. Can everybody else hear me or hear the music that you play? Anybody in the chat or anybody watch on Rumble?
Yeah, something's up with the music. It mutes you right away, and I don't know why it's doing that now.
Oh, is this new?
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
It doesn't mute you, it muffles you. It's like
I'm telling you, we will get this perfected by next Tuesday.
try something.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
See, it doesn't.
Testing.
Tell me how low I can keep it to where you can hear it. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay, I'll keep it there.
Is that muffling me? Try it again.
No, it wasn't. Okay, hold over. Here we go.
Yeah.
No,
just kidding. Just teasing. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, that's where I'll keep it, so it doesn't interfere.
Holy crap. We've only got half an hour left or 40 minutes. My gosh. How many stories do I have left? 1, 2, 3. Okay, not too bad. Okay. I got most of it. That's not awful, right?
Not awful, but See, the problem is when Wendy's off on vacation, so is Michael.
Who's Michael?
The guy that does our podcast, her son.
We have a podcast too?
We take this show, we edit out this portion, and we condense it to just Wendy, and then put that on the podcast form.
Oh, okay.
We got over 8 million downloads already.
Nice.
Which is a big coup. Stop that. Actually, he said he would do it, but I told him to take the week off. Because I'm such a nice guy. Here we go.
I apologize for the muffledness at the end. And for those who didn't get to hear it, everything that I said there during the muffled portion was absolutely brilliant. Whatever it was that I said, it was you should feel bad for missing it, and I'm sorry. I will try my best to never let you miss it again. But Nick Shirley, speaking of brilliant, Nick Shirley has been phenomenal. And he represents what I believe to be the winning strategy for Republicans going forward. Because here's the thing. We've been watching the reactions, not just what Nick Shirley is doing, but what other people are doing. And obviously the most glaring example of this is what California is doing with the so-called Stop Nick Shirley bill. Okay. It's designed to prevent him and other people from being able to do exactly what he's doing. California Democrats are so terrified, absolutely terrified, they're going to get exposed, that their cons, their scams are going to be exposed. So they're doing everything they can to stop him and other people like him, because there are other people that are popping up, from being able to expose the scams. Now, if the Republican Party were smart, they would latch onto this hard. I mean, they would say, and not just in California, they would go across the country. They would make sure that in every blue state, particularly or especially every blue city, that they were asking about fraud and corruption. They should be doing the research themselves. They should be, instead of hiring consultants or campaign analysts, they should be hiring people like Nick Shirley and some bodyguards and saying, okay, go sniff out fraud and in daycares or hospice centers or homeless centers. The fraud is so rampant in some of these cities, in some of these states, that finding it isn't hard. Find it, expose it, and show the world, especially the voters in that area, what's going on, what's happening under the Democrats' watch. If we've seen it, but there hasn't been the connection. There hasn't been the connection between the two. In other words, you're not hearing about or seeing Republicans really hammering home that, hey, there's this fraud that's happening under the Democrats, and we're wondering why they let it go, or we're wondering why they haven't done anything about it. You're seeing a little bit of that, but to me, that's a winning message because it crosses over. You're not having to say, oh, if we lower taxes, it'll be better, or if we put out this ordinance or this piece of legislation, like this is a 100% issue, right? In other words, if you were to ask Americans, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, doesn't matter, you were ask all of them, any of them, and say, hey, so here's a lot of taxpayer money that should be used for, it's earmarked to be used for autism, but instead it's being used to buy these people in Somalia Ferraris. Do you think that's bad? And 100% will say, yeah, of course that's bad. Like, no, if we're putting money, taxpayer money, towards autism, helping those with autism, then we should be helping those with autism. You don't need to make it political. You just have to make it human. Nick Shirley has shown this as a way to run the campaigns. Why aren't they doing it? You're hearing a little bit about it from some of the campaigns, but I know this should be the big one. Like, if I were Steve Hilton, I would have made this the primary thing in his race. He did, to be fair, he did put out a video. Okay, I think it was yesterday or this morning, even saying that his first act, his first executive order, would be to start looking into and investigating the massive widespread fraud that has been taking place in California. He'd look at Gavin Newsom. He'd look at the legislature. He'd look at the bureaucrats. He wants to look at everybody. He says that the fraud is here. It's obvious. We're seeing it. We've uncovered some of it. Let's uncover more of it. And now let's hold people accountable for allowing it, or in some cases, for enabling and promoting it. That's a winning message. That should have been the message throughout. He should have been talking about this nonstop for 3 months. Just like I said, Spencer Pratt, localized issues, right? And he has talked about, probably more than just about any other candidate, he's talked about fraud and corruption himself because he's smart. Other candidates in California haven't really been paying that much attention. They haven't been making it their big message. That's a huge mistake. Big mistake. Huge. After the break, I will finish up with this strategy. And we'll also be talking about EPA and a whole bunch of other things. So, it's on the other side of the break on the Wendy Bell radio program. Was I still muffled?
A little bit. I got to figure out why it's doing it all of a sudden. That doesn't.
Weird. Okay, you play around with that. I am going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Can't hear you, by the way.
I didn't say anything. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I can hear it. Yep. Well, he's gone. Please follow his page. I think JD does. I won't say anything nice to him when he's here. I think he does a great job. He had reached out to us in the past basically just saying he likes the show. And I had already followed him. So when I got the chance to say, "Do you want to fill in for Wendy?" What, probably a year ago almost, or longer than a year ago, I thought I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to ask him. But I enjoy a lot of his work. And like I said, if you follow jdrecord.com, we he's one of the people we check out his stuff. You've heard Wendy read his articles, and I will say, for Wendy to say he's one of my favorite writers is a huge, huge compliment because she doesn't say it that often. 157. Let's get the rumbles up. Mary does her own stuff, a lot of her own stuff now. So I try, like, she's got a show on Newsmax like Wendy did now. And I know that takes up a lot of time. Mary fills in for a lot of people. And I just thought I'll leave her alone. And as soon as JD said, "Yeah, I'm available all week," I'm big on consistency.
I'm back.
I'm big on consistency. So when someone says, "Yeah, I can do the whole week," I'd rather have that person.
Are they already trying to get rid of me?
No, 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 no. I said some nice things about you, and they asked where Mary is, and Mary has filled in for us too. But she has a Newsmax show now, and she does a lot of fill in. She's done Breitbart radio. I know she has filled in terrestrially for other hosts too. So when I reached out to JD and he's like, "Yeah, I can do the whole week," it takes a burden off of me trying to coordinate behind the scenes who's on when, and so it's easier. And he was my first choice. So when your first choice says yes, you go with your first choice.
I'm tearing up. You can tell, right?
Well, that's because the other people can't. So you're my first choice of people who could. So,
nice. Way to
well, you know, if I can get a dig in, I will.
I'm with you. I kept my shirt on for you, so there's that.
And we've had hosts in the past who've gotten out of the business. They said, I'm done. So I said, okay.
Jeez, I feel like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah. No. When Wendy told me they were taking a trip, I said I'll talk to JD. Literally, all joking aside, you were my first call.
Well, when Wendy called me and she said, "Do you want to get a new producer, or do you want Brock to stay?" I said, "No. Let's keep Brock."
Wow. I know that to be fake news. So you go ahead and peddle your fake news from California.
Yeah, totally.
Did you vote yet?
Wendy called me from Area 51.
Uh-huh. Did you vote yet?
I voted long ago. It's California.
Oh. Yours wasn't one of the ballots that was burned, was it?
Oh, no. No, I take mine straight. Well, I didn't. My wife did. Straight to the horse's office. Oh, you have to. I'm telling you. I don't trust the mail. I don't trust the drop boxes.
No.
The people at the office, they actually, so you're actually exchanging custody. And for them to engage in any shenanigans puts them at risk, and it's on camera.
I still, here we go. I still wouldn't put it past.
I do enjoy radio perhaps more than anything else, not because of the the lack of camera time, because I have no problem with being on camera. It's the purity. It's the purity of the sound. It's that the message itself is relevant with or without an appearance. This is why, you see certain people out there doing radio that or doing television or whatever, and you can tell that they've got to spend their time getting their makeup on and doing their everything for their 2-minute hits. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not trying to rip on it, I guess. Maybe I am a little bit. But radio and Rumble, for that matter, there's a purity to it, because I don't wear makeup. If I can see in the camera, I've got a glare on my head. I don't care. I just threw on a shirt, kept the shirt on the entire show, and started doing it. That's why I am so grateful, so blessed to have the opportunity to fill in for Wendy Bell on the Wendy Bell radio program. Nick Shirley is also a blessing. And as I said before, his style, his strategy, his commitment has opened the eyes, I hope, of more and more consultants out there. Because if Republicans latch onto the notion of exposing fraud and make that their campaign choice, they can reach across the aisle. It's the only one that can, by the way, to be clear. There is no other real issue that they're willing to embrace where they can truly reach across the aisle and say, yeah, this is it. We're going to stop fraud. We're going to expose corruption. We're going to take your taxpayer dollars and make them work for the thing that they're supposed to work for. We're going to try to reduce the amount of taxpayer dollars we take from you. We're going to try to reduce spending. Those are messages that don't necessarily reach across the aisle, by the way. But the one that does is when you say, and the money that is supposed to be set aside for autism, for hospice care, for daycares, for homelessness, that money is actually going to be used for those things. And unfortunately, my opponent across the aisle on the Democrat side is opposing this. They don't want to uncover the fraud. And ask yourself why that is. Why would my Democrat opponent not want to expose the fraud? Why are they making legislation that is designed to perpetuate the fraud? If you answer that question, honestly, you'll come to only one possible conclusion: that they somehow either benefit from the fraud, or they're too scared to go against their friends and cronies who are benefiting from the fraud. Either way, they shouldn't be in office. You take that message, you rinse it, you repeat it, you hire yourself a bunch of Nick Shirleys and Nick Shirley bodyguards, and you go to town. And as a result, you would win the midterm elections in a landslide. Now, there is another issue that should be, I would think, a topic that a lot of people, especially if they're running for Senate, that these people should be going after. And I'm talking about any Republican who's running for Senate should be focused on saying, if we can't get it done this time, we will get it done next time. If you send me there, we will do everything we can to get the Save America Act passed. This is the other one that should be a no-brainer. A strong majority of Democrats support voter ID. The vast majority of Republicans support voter ID. It is a nice, maybe not 100% issue, but it's about an 80% issue. 80% of Americans support the notion, at the very least, of the Save America Act. And if you were to take it at face value, and even if you were to, and I'm not a proponent of dumbing it down, okay? They did insert some things in there for whatever reason, and I have my ideas as to what those reasons are, but they did put certain things in there that might get opposition from the Susan Collins and the Lisa Murkowskis of the world, the Mitch McConnells and the Tom Tillises. But at the end of the day, they just don't want secure elections. That's it. That's the only reasons that they're opposed to it. They can say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. No, it's because they're part of the uniparty swamp and they want to perpetuate the uniparty swamp. So if I'm running for U.S. Senate, because it's already been passed in Congress like 3 times, if I'm running in the U.S. Senate, I'm saying that they failed. And if I'm an active sitting member of the U.S. Senate running for re-election as a Republican, I would say we failed. We failed to pass something that 80% of Americans embrace. And we suck for doing that. And I'm not saying it's over, but, unless somehow, God willing, unless they're able to pass through reconciliation, it seems like there is no appetite for John Thune to do the right thing, to force the people who are opposed to ending the filibuster, force them. I don't care how. There's ways, there's levers, there's leverage. You can figure out how to take Tom Tillis, even though he's retiring. You can prompt him, cut a deal with him in some form or fashion to vote for it. And if you can't get him, I'm not worried about Mitch McConnell. He's toast anyway. You can't get Mitch McConnell, but you don't need him. Not if you get, all you need is one or two, I think. I think actually, if I'm correct, the math is you need 2 of the 4 current known holdouts: Tom Tillis, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins. And now you might have to add Bill Cassidy to that list, which is a good thing, by the way. I'm glad that he's out. I'm not saying, oh, it's a shame that Bill Cassidy didn't make it through his primary, came in 3rd. That sucks. Now he's going to be opposed to, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's going to be a lot harder for Trump and John Thune because now Cassidy and John Cornyn aren't going to be supportive. Who cares? They needed to be out. I'll take that. I'll take the victory from that. Okay. If they passed, here's the thing, and I've said this before, if they had passed the Save America Act, John Cornyn would have won his primary, and Bill Cassidy would have at least come in 2nd and been in the runoff instead of coming in 3rd and being completely pushed out. All they had to do was pass the Save America Act. John Thune knew that. President Trump made that clear. He said he was only going to endorse Cornyn if they passed the Save America Act. They didn't. John Cornyn's like, yeah, but I tried. I'm going to say something that's going to be unpopular, but it's true. I actually, from a sanity perspective, I prefer it when Democrats have control of the Senate. Not the legislation, not confirmation wise, not the logistics, not anything else, but because I get so just almost rageful when the Republicans have control of the Senate, because it just demonstrates how weak and feckless they are. Now, praise God, we've got 2 of them out. We know that John Cornyn will not be returning to the Senate. We know that Bill Cassidy will not be returning to the Senate. But Susan Collins probably is. Lisa Murkowski already won her election 2 years ago. And thanks to she shouldn't have. She shouldn't have won, but she did. I'm not going to relitigate that. Point is that they can get it passed. John Thune can get it passed. He just has to, I don't care if he uses committee assignments. I don't care if he uses, as long as it's legal, use it. Whatever means necessary to pressure or reward or threaten. One way, those are the 3 options. Use those, get the Save America Act passed. But unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. So I go back to my original premise. If I'm running for Senate, I'm running on the Save America Act. And you might say, yeah, but wouldn't that highlight the failure? You betcha. It definitely would. Am I biased because I think that I want them to expose that because of my desire for the Save America Act to pass? You betcha. But I also think it's a winning message. I legitimately do think that. Okay, so on one hand, you got the Nick Shirley strategy. On the other hand, you got the Save America Act strategy. You do those 2 things, and I think we win big time. Republicans will retain control of the Senate and the House. Somebody write it down, because get this out to them. Unfortunately, they're not. Most of the campaigns that we're watching out there, and I know we're not fully into general election season, still plenty of primaries to go. And, for the most part, this early aspect of general election season has shown us that the candidates are just attacking each other. The Republicans attacking the Democrats attacking the Republicans. That's fine. That's how it starts. But at some point, it's going to have to turn to policy. And to me, fighting fraud, getting voter ID passed, you don't even have to call it the Save America Act. Just say, look, I am in support of voter ID. 80% of Americans are in support of voter ID. The current makeup of the Senate has prevented that from happening. I would like to fix that. Send me to Washington or send me back to Washington if they're an incumbent. But maybe that's why I do radio instead of political consulting. I do let my emotions get in the way. I'll admit it. But I also think that I truly, legitimately believe that both of those are winning strategies better than what we're seeing out there today. And I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Not saying I'm smarter than the consultants. Okay, maybe I am saying that. Either way, it would make it a lot more fun too. At the end of the day, it would make it a lot more fun. I'm going to try to squeeze in these last two stories. We got two more, and we only got one segment left, so I'm going to try to squeeze this one in because it's big, but it's not too long. EPA boss made criminal referrals alleging Democrats self-dealing in lucrative green energy grants. Lee Zeldin, who is the EPA administrator, says he has made several criminal referrals to the EPA Inspector General and the Justice Department over alleged self-dealing in Biden-era green energy grants. Seems pretty illegal, right? The reason that I bring this story up before we do go to the last break of the day, the reason that I bring this story up is because this does bring back something that's been sort of lost ever since President Trump has been in office. And that is the Green New Scam. There was a reason why the Democrats had pushed this. There's a reason why the globalists have been pushing this. And it has absolutely nothing to do with climate change. It's about utilizing climate change to engage in fraud and to promote a Marxist economic agenda. That's it. You got the purists like Saikat Chakrabarty and AOC who want to use it to advance their program. And you have the scum that want to use it to fill their pockets. Either way, it's bad. And we'll talk about that and a little bit more after the break. You're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. I cut that one early, didn't I?
No, that was fine. You heard the music? You heard the, because I kept it down low enough that it didn't seem to interfere with your sound too much.
I heard it. Oh, goodness. I'm not getting old. I'm just massaging my back for no reason.
At least your shirt's still on with that.
Yeah. Well, this chair it also doubles as a napping place, actually. So
you nap in a chair?
I have been known to nap in a chair, yes.
Does it recline?
Oh, it does.
Like all the way?
All the way.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like it's just a standard sit upright chair.
No, this is a lazy boy, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's 1%er stuff. Lazy boy.
Oh no, this isn't like literally a lazy boy. It's a cheap knockoff of lazy boy. But
lazy boy.
It's a. I think the let me see if I can find the brand. It's Temu. It's an unmotivated boy.
Oh.
So he's not lazy. He's just unmotivated.
Unmotivated.
Yeah.
Today went fast.
Getting some and I think I'm actually going to finish it. No, I'm not. I forgot. I got 2 more stories after that one. You know what? I'm going to skip that last one, that EPA one. We'll just go to the last 2. How's that? We'll actually get all the show notes done.
The last one is.
I know. I saved that for last for a reason. We're definitely getting to that one.
It shows that there are people out there that you still use common sense on the left.
Yeah. And I can't stand the guy, but I respect him greatly.
He's like, I used to like him, and then he went full kind of batshit crazy.
Well, the problem is
he's starting to come back, but I think he's coming back is because the left's going farther left, and they're leaving him behind.
He's smart enough. He should just be a libertarian. Just leave the left behind. If he just went straight up libertarian, I don't think anybody would even notice. He would just have to. I mean, that's when.
Well, I don't think he could, because he does like the government.
Well, but he doesn't have to anymore, and he should have learned his lesson by now. And he's a smart guy, and he should have figured it out.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yep, 58:50, correct?
Yes.
All right. I want to time it out perfectly.
But that's 58:50 my time.
Yeah, 58:40 my time. Got it.
Yes. I appreciate 58:35 your time, but
how about 58:37? I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay. It's like working with Wendy.
I take that as a compliment. It's freezing on my screen, by the way. Oh, I cannot express enough how much I have enjoyed my time here with you all today. I am here all week, and that's not a comedy routine. That is the truth. JD Rucker filling in for the great and wonderful Wendy Bell. I will be filling in for her Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I will be going back to my own show starting next week. But in the meantime, if you want to check out what I do, my news aggregator that I hand curate every individual link, you can find that at jdrucker.com. So, bottom line, the EPA is Lee Zeldin is going after, trying to get some people arrested for doing some pretty bad things. It's funny because Brock sent this to me, and he had sent it to me about literally 9 minutes after John Solomon had sent it to me. And so great minds think alike. And so do ours. Anyway, that was good stuff, and I encourage you to read that. It's over at justthenews.com. We do have 2 more stories, and I got to get to the last one because it's my favorite story of the day so far. But before we get to that one, ICE is demanding, and you haven't heard this before, at least I hadn't heard it before from other people or from other regarding other people, but ICE is actually going out there and demanding that Gavin Newsom ends sanctuary law after an illegal alien killed an infant, a mother, and a grandmother. And I'm not going to go into too many details about this story because it's one of those that's really, truly, legitimately very sad. The images are popping up on my X feed. I see this family, this grandmother, and this daughter, this little itty bitty baby. And I think to myself, my gosh, my goodness, why? How is this even possibly allowed? In 2026, with President Trump in office, with Tom Homan doing his thing with ICE and DHS doing their thing, and yet we have these Soros and Singham-backed protesters and their hippie blue-haired contributors as well saying, stop ICE, nobody's illegal. Well, this guy, Joaquin Escato Vasquez, 28, a Mexican national, he is illegal. He is allegedly a murderer. And the thing that really got me upset was when I saw his appearance in court, and this evil scumbag smiled. He smiled, looked directly into the camera, and he smiled at it. After murdering, stabbing, not just like something impersonal like shooting or whatever, stabbed a 2-week-old baby and a mother and a grandmother. So yeah, ICE told Breitbart that Vasquez had 4 prior California drunk driving arrests. So it's not like, oh, this is the first time they've had him in custody. No, he's demonstrated that he's willing to do anything, and he should be deported, but not apparently in California. Again, I do everything I can to not get too emotional about any of this stuff, but I'll admit it's hard. Last story of the day, and then I'm going to go and watch the results of, or at least the initial results from the California election. It'll probably take 3 months before we get the real results, but or the real results. At that point, there'll be the fake results, but who cares? We're having fun with Spencer Pratt and everybody. And who else is having fun with Spencer Pratt? Bill Maher. Bill Maher has actually had Spencer Pratt on one of his podcasts. What's it called? Club Random. And he asked some tough questions. I saw clips from it, and he was asking some tough questions, like Spencer Pratt saying these things that he's going to do. And Bill Maher pushed back and said, you know what? We've heard this before from other people. What's different about you? Spencer Pratt explained what made him different. And it's because he cares. And he's authentic. And he's real. And he's not a politician. He doesn't care about national politics. He doesn't care about anything. He just wants to make LA better. And Bill Maher, who, love him or hate him, I personally don't like him. I think that he's a waste. I think that he's too smart to promote the ideas that he has, but whatever. I still respect him. I respect his intelligence, and at certain times I respect his judgment. And in this case, I do respect the fact that he threw his weight, his support behind Spencer Pratt. That's awesome. I mean, this guy is an avowed leftist. He has a very leftist audience, but even the left has pushed him away enough to where he's willing to accept a quote-unquote Republican in Spencer Pratt to be the mayor in his city. That's awesome. I mean, that might be the most important celebrity endorsement that he's gotten. Now, Spencer Pratt has been very clear. He doesn't care about celebrity endorsements. He wants the endorsement of mothers who want to walk down the streets with their children in Los Angeles and not have to worry about drug paraphernalia or getting mugged or shot or stabbed. Pray for Spencer Pratt. Pray for all of the good candidates out there. Pray for Steve Hilton. And pray for me. I'm your host, guest host, JD Rucker. Filling in for Wendy Bell, Lord willing. I will be back tomorrow with another episode. But in the meantime, y'all stay strong, stay safe, and God bless.